But that was my question.
Start this recording. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you first the challenger, the brother from ISUPK, Mr. Captain Tazaryach. You got 5 minutes, brother. Tazaryach, you're up. Your mic is muted, brother.
I'm sorry. I can't be the challenger and be going first. I got to be the. Is that how it goes? I'm not saying I don't want to go first.
It's all boxing talk. Go ahead, my brother.
Oh, okay. I'm like the ass whooper.
All right. Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
I'm Captain Tazaryach of ISUPK, under Commander Jenny Hanna. Today we have a debate between myself and Reginald again. You might want to get rid of Reginald. Today we have a debate between myself and Shaka Amos. A lot of people look at it as a long time coming. He and I have had a lot of heated discussions, most of them predicated by me. So I did a lot of trash talking leading up to this debate. It won't be none of that I guess personal stuff. If he wouldn't, I don't know why he chose to talk about the stuff he talked about before the debate, because none of that stuff would be mentioned in this debate. The excellent caveat to this debate is I can't talk about Kemit. He can't talk about the Bible. What do I mean by that? Normally, when I try to have this type of debate where we just talk about what can actually fix the community, either I or my opponent ends up just doing the usual, you copied this was established 3,000 years ago and stuff like that. We're not talking about nothing from 3,000 years ago. We're not talking about any of that. What I mean by 3,000 years ago, we're not talking about like somebody being the original civilization, original language, or anything like that. What has to be exemplified today is how that is relevant today. Meaning what I know about with the Bible and what I'll show is from our time in slavery up until today, we are using that for our liberation. It's active. The most prominent leaders that we've had in America has used that Bible. Even if they call themselves a Muslim, even if they call themselves a Panther, no matter what they call themselves, they have used the Bible as the blueprint for their liberation. I have never seen it with Kemit. All I've ever seen from that side is how great it was and this and that. So, I created this title. This title is my fault. Guido, you might want to use the mic, Guido. I created this title because I felt that Shaka was scholarly enough to just deal with the subject.
My apologies, brother. My apologies.
Yeah, I know, Cat. I know.
Hold on. Everybody, please keep your mics muted. All right, go ahead, brother.
I appreciate Shaka taking on the challenge of not being able to talk about the Bible. I know it's a difficult one, just like me not talking about Kemit is a difficult one. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the information. I think the winners of this debate should be the people. What I mean by that is if you truly believe in the Bible and truly believe that that's revolutionary for us, I'll show you information on that, whether it's a Bible verse, whether it's somebody using it. And for the same other side, for Shaka's side, Shaka should be able to show the same exact thing I'm going to show. So with that, I'm ready to rock and roll. I know he gets his 5 minutes, of course, but again, I'm Captain Tazaryach of ISUPK under Commander Jenny Hanna. And that's all I got. I'm gonna mute my mic.
All right, thank you, my brother. Peace and love to you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you my big brother, Shaka Amos. He has 5 minutes to lay out his plan and introduce himself to the people. Shaka Amos, you could unmute and get the ball rolling.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I could hear you loud and clear.
He had to be on mute on cam. Oh, there you go. My bad. Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not sure what you guys are seeing, so I just want to make sure what you're seeing is appropriate. All right, cool. Can you see me?
Yes, sir. I could see you.
Okay. All right. I donned a cot in honor of Tazaryach's crown of barbed wire. So here we go. His barbed wire thorns. Who is this? From something to everyone from can't see them. Okay, so I'm going to ignore those messages. Okay. So can you guys hear me and see me?
Yes, I could see you and you sound clear.
Okay, great. So I'm going to zone. First of all, for those of you who don't know me, I'm I'm pretty sure many of you know me, or all of you know me. I'm called Shaka Amos, and I represent quite a few things, but this evening I'm representing native literature of ancient Kemit, and I'm representing primarily a position. That's what I'm representing. I'm representing a position. And the position that I'm going to be representing is something in reference to what Tazaryach just said moments ago. So I'm going to address it very briefly, take a few seconds so that you can see, but you'll understand why I'm choosing to take the approach that I'm taking. So he said a moment ago that the title of tonight's debate is his fault. That's what he said out of his own mouth. I didn't say it, he said it. And that's key. That is key, right? When you go buy a book, first thing you're usually looking at is the title, right? When people are promoting and marketing a book, it's the title. Titles matter. When people win a debate, what do they want? They want to get a title, right? Titles matter. When you own something, you have to have a title for it. It's a car, it's a boat, right? Even a house, you have to have a title. So titles matter. And so we're going to be, the majority of my presentation will be focused on the title, because at the end of the day, my primary concern is legitimately resolving the problems of our people. And in order to do that, I'm of the firm perspective that a focused approach is what's necessary. And so I don't know if I'll be presenting in a traditional way. I don't know if I'll be presenting in a way that corresponds to how Tazaryach is going to choose to present, but I'm not here to fight his fight. I'm here to fight my own fight and to represent and advocate for my own perspective. So therefore, I will be presenting in my own way. The challenge for me will be getting it all out. I tried to sue for 30-minute rounds, that he would have 30 minutes, I would have 30 minutes. My opponent wanted to limit it to 10 minutes. We had to struggle to get him to 15 minutes. Just before we came on, I was really suing for at least 20 minutes because I think in order for things to be explained clearly, that there needs to be a buildup. There needs to be some type of preparation. The mind needs to be primed, right? So I mean, I'm not attempting to present first grade material or junior high school, have a junior high school discussion. So unfortunately, whatever I don't present in the debate, you'll have to catch it on my platform. And I guarantee that it's worth seeing the entire thing in its entirety. When you see it all in its entirety, you'll probably come to the conclusion that it's worth a lot more than what you paid for. So that's where he is going to be blessed tonight. My challenge is much greater than his is. I have to present much larger ideas in a much smaller space. So so my opponent got to choose the title. He also got to choose the handicap, which was the restrictions of not being of us. Now, he presumes and promotes the myth that he only chose one thing, which is the title, which is false. One thing Hebrew Israelites do with literally every sentence is a false sentence. Or even when they speak truthfully, it's still a false sentence. It's like Tony Montana from Scarface, when he said, even when I lie, I tell the truth. With the Hebrew Israelites, it's the opposite. Even when they tell the truth, they lie, right? So he said that he only chose one thing, which was the title of the debate, which is what my focus is going to be on. The reality of it, he chose the title of the debate, and he chose the parameters in which the debate, the context in which the debate would take place. So it's all geared towards him, right? You have to understand that it's all geared towards him. And so I have to operate within those small parameters, which is my challenge. So I'm not crying about it. I'm just explaining to you what the nature of the situation is.
That's time. That's time, my brother. That's
Okay.
time. All right. Thank you, my brother. Mute up. Keep your camera on. All right. So for the first round, we're going to have Captain Tazaryach. He's going to go for 15 minutes. Let me set the clock, set the timer and everything. Tazaryach, I want to say, are you ready, brother? Do you need to share your screen and get the ball rolling?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
gotta share it twice. So
Hold on 1 second. Captain, I'm going to mute you for a second. I want everybody to stay on mute. The only person should be off mute should be my brother, Captain Tazaryach. All right? We're not allowed, there's no cameras. Please turn your cameras off. If you're having audio problem, which I just got a couple of emails, come out of the Zoom meeting. And then when you're coming back in, it's going to ask you which audio, pick the Wi-Fi or your Wi-Fi audio. If that doesn't work, go back out and pick the other option, the dial-in option or whatever. All right. All right, family. We're here. We got over 400 people in the building. It's a lot of people. So again, please stay on mute. All right. Tazaryach, you could come off mute and you could start. When you start sharing, I'll share and we go from there.
Can you hear me, Garfield? Like if I say
Yeah.
I saw Shaka spraying that Egyptian musk on his underarms, you can hear that?
Oh man, I didn't hear that part. Oh man.
I got two shares. I can't. Shaka didn't know the camera was on. He over there.
All right, hold on.
Let me
hold on 1 second. Let me get. I got my clock ready. We're doing 15 minutes. So let me know when you're ready, and we could go from there.
Okay, hold on. I got two shares that I have. I have one share of the video, and then I have another share. Now, of course, if he ever has to share, his time can be paused as well. Just so you know. So I have two shares. Give me 1 second to get to it. Hold on. Just bear with me, y'all, please. I appreciate it. All right. Should be popping up. There's my internet acting slow, so I apologize for that. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me come here. Share. Boom. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. We see a video. All right.
So I'm going to start with this video.
Hold on 1 second. Reginald Baker, for some reason, you choose to come off your mic constantly. I don't know what's going on here. I really don't know. I'll send you a copy in the morning. Yeah, I'll send you a copy in the morning.
That was wise.
That don't make no sense right now. Let me just let these people in. People coming to see Shaka and you, bro. They love y'all.
I think it's a good debate. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I think I first was back in 2014 when I made Shaka stumble on the street. So now here we are. So let me know when I could play the video yet?
Yes, you could play whenever you're ready. I could start your timer right now.
I know, sweat. And then you'll pause when I switch to my PowerPoint, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm ready to go. You can start my time now. Okay, so in this video I'm about to play, remember the title of this debate is Kemit versus the Bible, which one can actually fix our community? So I'm going to show a timeline or a streamline. Now I want to start with this video here. This is Khalid Muhammad, one of the most prominent Black men that has graced America. Even though he's a Muslim, here's what he took a chance to say when he actually had his hands on the Bible. I'm just going to play this clip real fast.
Is it all right? Some of you put this book down. But the Bible is a roadmap to our liberation and salvation if properly understood. From Genesis to Revelation, the Bible actually has our history. We are living in the Bible right now, brothers and sisters. We are walking on the pages of Scripture. But you must go in the Bible with a proper understanding. Otherwise, you'll go in a fool and come out an even bigger fool.
All right, I'm going to stop my share just so I could share my PowerPoint now. Garfield.
All right.
Here.
Yes, sir. I could hear you. I'm going to start the time back right now.
No, don't start it yet because, you know, I'll be jamming up when I start the slideshow. So I'm going to go to my slideshow from current slide. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Ain't I supposed to move something?
I didn't see anything moved at all.
Like this, right? You can see my screen now, right?
There you go.
All right, no sweat. You can start my time. Has Kemit ever sparked a revolution of any kind for Black people in America? Like this is like, and even this list that I have right here is not even long enough to really represent the list of Blacks that have used the Bible as their liberation. So on this list, you have Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Rabbi Ford, Rabbi Matthews, Ben Amin, MLK, Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, Cherry, Malcolm X, Khalid Muhammad, David Walker, the Deacons for Defense, Absalom Jones, Black Panther Party, Harriet Tubman, W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, Henry McNeil Turner, William S. Crowdy. These are just some of the individuals that over time would go and read those records, would go and read that Bible. Some of them would say they even had divine inspiration from the God of the book that will lead them to liberate their people or build something for their people, establish a foundation, establish a government. If we do just a brief overlook of the Black religious history, just 7 churches. You have the earliest church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church, established in 1816. You have the Episcopal Zion Church, established in 1821. You have the Christian Methodist Episcopal in 1870, the National Black Baptist Convention in 1880, the Church of God in Christ, almost sound like GOCC, 1897, the National Baptist Convention in 1915. The first African church was actually organized in 1773 under the leadership of Reverend George Lee. Now, what's going to be interesting, and I did a lecture on this because a lot of people say, well, Cap, you're using the church. This church that we read, or that we're going to see in the early 1700s and the 1800s, before integration came, before we thought it was better to assimilate with the so-called white man, they would be what y'all would call ISUBK today. They would be what y'all would call the Israelites today. So now it has the slave Bible, and I'm pretty sure we all heard of the slave Bible, which omitted key passages that could incite rebellion. On display at the museum in Washington, D.C., anybody can go check out this rare Bible from the 1800s. And what's notable about the Bible is not just its rarity, but its content, or rather lack thereof, because it excludes any portion that might inspire rebellion or liberation. They always like to say the Bible is copied or the Bible is plagiarized. There's missing things out of the book. Well, we found what the white man took out. He took out anything that you might read that said, free yourself, empower yourself. It's high time to come out of sleep. Anthony Smith, the associate curator of the Bible and Religion in America, says the first instance of this abridged version, titled Parts of the Holy Bible, selected for use of the Negro slaves, the British West India slaves, was published in 1807. About 90% of the Old Testament is missing. 50% of the New Testament is missing. So imagine them giving you the Bible where all of the verses is about you being a good servant to a master, as opposed to seeing vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. That might inspire you to say, well, this man is leading me in captivity. Let me get out of this captivity. It says in the verses that reinforce the institution of slavery, the most famous pro-slavery verse that many pro-slavery people would have cited is Ephesians 6:5, which says, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters. The NIV version would say, slaves, be obedient to them that are your masters, according to the flesh, with fear, trembling, singleness of heart, as unto Christ. But what they won't tell you or won't include is that the actual verse 9 in the same chapter says, and ye masters do the same things unto them. Why? Because the Bible is not about a master having full dominance over a servant, nor a servant being abused by a master. So the same thing a master does, the same thing a servant does for a master, the master has to do the same for them. That's why Christ washed their feet. Christ washed their feet because him being a master showed what a master can be as a servant, and that's what we're supposed to be. So these are the things that they omitted from the Bible, and we'll see why. This is another, I have the sources here for it. It says, many enslaved people who did become Christians had to deal with restrictions by masters that forbade them from attending church or prayer meetings. To get around these restrictions and for alternatives to sermons by white clergy asking them to obey many Christians, enslaved people held secret services with distinct styles of praying, singing, and worship, which is what the black church became today. Even if you look at a black church and a white church, the way that they worship or practice in a white church is very different than a black church, but we had to go hide. And it said in nearby woods and gullies and ravines and thickets. You can get this from the Invisible Institution. Historians say the biblical story of the Israelites' escape from Egypt, and I want y'all to pay attention, because if the inspiration is what's happening to the children of Israel, then the enemy has to be whoever is oppressing the children of Israel, which is the Egyptians. Historians say the biblical story of the Israelites' escape from Egypt provided a good deal of inspiration to the enslaved people. This was reflected in coded lyrics to some of their religious songs or spirituals. That's why y'all would hear them old Negro spirituals, wade in the water, swing low, swing chariot. All of that would be the coded lyrics that the Black people at that time would sing, would encourage. It would be slave routes, escape slave routes. All of those things would play a part. It says in Go Down Moses, for example, the lyrics plead with the Hebrew prophet to tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Frederick Douglass wrote that when he was a child before he had escaped slavery. A keen observer might have detected in our repeated singing of O Canaan, sweet Canaan, I am bound for the land of Canaan. Canaan, of course, is what will become the land of Israel. I'll go to the next slide. Prophet William Crowdy. Listen, man, Crowdy would be like an honorary UPK member if you look at the story. So Crowdy was born William Guthrie in Oklahoma on Tuesday, September 13th. I'm sorry, Wild in Guthrie, Oklahoma on Tuesday, September 13th. The Lord God appeared unto William Crowdy. It's going to be amazing how all of these men that was inspired all got a vision of some kind from an actual real God, not whatever God y'all follow. It says, telling him that he wanted him to redeem Israel out of spiritual and mental bondage. It didn't say he wanted to redeem Africans or any other type of people. It says specifically redeem Israel. In 1896, the Crowdys moved to Lawrence, Kansas, and the prophet began preaching the word of God. At first on street corners, he organized the first tabernacle and emporia at the second at Lawrence. As he strove to reestablish this doctrine and gather the lost sheep of the house of Israel, which is Matthew 10:6. Let's see where he went. He met with much opposition from some of the listeners and from some of the civil authorities. That's why I say he would be an honorary UPK member, because we get the same opposition. We get the same opposition every time we go out there, whether it be the listeners or the civil authorities that don't want us to do it. And where did he do it? While preaching on the street. He was arrested 22 times. However, he continued his mission, which he had been sent. That's what the God of the Bible does. When you serve in the God of that Bible, you get inspired, whether you go to jail, whether you get harmed, whether there's danger, whether there's anything involved in it. That's what you do. I'm going to go to the next slide. Next slide. Because of the great prophet's success, I appreciate it. Because of the great prophet's success, jealousy began to swell up among many prominent clergymen of persuasions. He was accused of anarchy, preaching false doctrine. In February 1902, the Philadelphia Day Press detailed the article telling the people mass meetings held by those ministers and how they declared that this so-called Negro prophet must be stopped. Here's was his response. He said, the more they denounce me, the more people pack my services. I came to this city less than a year ago from Texas, and I've taken in over 1,300 converts. That's how I feel like if I use the conscious community as an example, Sinetta's house of consciousness. When we come over there and they denounce us, we still kept growing. No matter what they said, no matter how much they try to stop us, we still kept going. It says they are jealous of my success. I teach my people. Here's what they're jealous of. I teach my people to love one another, keep the commandments, pay their honest debts, abstain from alcohol and tobacco. If that's anarchy and false doctrine, I am willing to take a back seat. Mayor Ashford has seen my work and he finds no offense in me. I almost experienced that when we was in North Carolina, which we'll get to later in this debate. In North Carolina, they try to say the same thing, that we're radical, that we're killers, and we're doing that, when all we're doing is keeping our culture. All of them people that you see in ISUBK, keep the commandments, abstain from tobacco. Alcohol is not unlawful, but we do advise if you have an alcoholic problem not to drink it, and we don't follow false doctrine or do anything like that. It says scholars say predominantly Black churches of the 19th and 20th centuries played important roles in Black society outside the sphere of religion. In a period where discrimination barred Black people from access to various public amenities, many Black churches offered job training programs. Why are the Black churches doing that? Because they have that Bible, because they have that book. Zephaniah 2:1 says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. So when we was not desired, we desired ourselves, which is what makes the early church such a nostalgic moment in time for me. Like the early church, segregation, all of that is nostalgia because it forced us to be more spiritual, to be more moral, to be more ethical. And once we began to do that, it says many Black churches offer job training, insurance cooperatives, circulating libraries, and athletic clubs. They were among the only places that Black people could take public or semi-public leadership positions. Men gained prominence as pastors, while women, when they like to say we don't rock with the women, while women often led church committees and organizations that provided social services locally or advocated for causes. And that's the balance that the men and women would have back then, and that's the balance we have in ISUBK today. In the late 18th, I think I might have read, I'll read this one again. In the late 18th and early 19th centuries, thousands of Americans, Black, enslaved, and free, were swept up in the revival known as the Second Great Awakening, which we're about to get into. It says in the South, the religious fervor of the evangelical Christianity resonated easily with the emotive religious traditions brought from West Africa. Rob Warner liked that part. I left that in there for you. Forging a unique synthesis, slaves gathered in hush harbors, woods and gullies, ravens and thickets for heartfelt worship, which stressed deliverance from the toil and troubles of the present world and salvation of early life to come. Let me keep going. Most of the enslaved lay outside of the institutional church on purpose. They laid outside of the institutional church because when you go in the church, you'll be what they call institutionalized. In the 1830s and 1840s, Southern churchmen undertook an active campaign to persuade plantation owners that slaves must be brought into the Christian fold. Now, in one part, they come in outside of the institutional church. In the other part, they want to bring them into the Christian fold for control. This meant that the church that had to be carried to the plantation, aided by denominational missionary societies, association, plantation missions became popular institutions. But missionaries recognized that Christianity would not appeal to all enslaved Blacks. This is what they said. He who carries the gospel to them delivers deism, skepticism, universalism. All the strong objections against Christianity. Objections were considered peculiar to white Christians who were preaching obedience to your masters because they knew if they were delivering their type of Christianity, it wouldn't be something that we would follow. I think I want to skip this one and come back. This is Henry Highland Garnet. This is the National Negro Convention of 1843 was held in Buffalo, New York, drawing some 70 delegates, a dozen states. Among the delegates were young rising leaders in the African community. Frederick Douglass, William H. Brown, Charles.
30 seconds.
27. This is what Henry Highland said in his address. He said, brethren, what Henry Highland said was that slaves of the United States were calling for their open rebellion. And that speech only failed by one vote. So even during back then, he said, brethren, arise, strike for your lives and liberty. Now is the day and the hour. Let every slave throughout the land do this. And he was a preacher. He was a preacher using that Bible for his liberation. What I've shown in my first half, which I'll continue to show, is that that Bible has been the only liberation for Black people in America. I yield.
All right, peace and love. You did 15 minutes and 25 seconds. I'm going to give my brother Shaka Amos the same amount of time. And before Shaka goes in, let me mute everybody up. All right, the only person who should be off mute is my brother Shaka. You're going to have to unmute yourself again, my brother, because I just muted everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your microphone muted. Keep your cameras off. Enjoy the information. Get your pen and paper and take notes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my big brother, Shaka Amos. I'll start the time when you tell me that you're ready, my brother. You gotta unmute your mic, brother Shaka.
Okay, I'm unmuted. I had to find my screen. These things jump around. Okay. So I'll address his statements at the end. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Are we starting right now? Like, do I get a go?
You tell me once you start, I'll start the clock, my brother.
Okay, not a problem. So that's oh, let me take this out my ear because I don't need it. All right. So that's let me make sure I can share my screen so I can make sure everything is on. Hold on one second. Share screen. Share screen. Okay. All right. So I'm guessing you guys can see this, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Let me put this up to oh shit. I hate when forgive me guys, Zoom is just kind of screwing me up here a bit. All right. Let me do this again. One second, guys. Zoom screwed me, so you got to give me a second.
Take your time, brother. It's all good.
All right.
Clock ain't start yet. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, remember to keep yourselves on mute. Turn your cameras off. If you have any audio issues, make sure you come out and try to sign in under the Wi-Fi for audio or the other one. All right.
I have a question for you. You know the little. This is why I hate Zoom. You know the little thing that when you're sharing your screen and you can still see the Zoom controls on your screen. Is there a way you can make that hide because it's blocking things that I need to see?
Anybody? Rob on.
Move it to the side, Shaka. You see that little thing? Just touch it and move it. Move it across. I don't see nothing now but your screen now, though.
Yeah, I know, but I can see it. So it's like,
oh,
all right,
you see your picture, right?
Yeah, I could see the all of the controls and everything, you know.
You just gotta press on it and move it. That's all. Just press on it and move it to the side.
Yeah.
You move it up.
All right, but even oh man. Okay. All right, so nah, this is not doing it. All right, so whatever, man. I'll just leave it right here. I'll just deal with it.
All right, let me know when you want to start, and I'll start the clock, my brother.
Other thing you could do is expand your screen, and then it'll take up the whole screen. You won't see no controls.
Yeah, my screen is expanded fully.
Oh shit. I don't know then. All right.
Yeah. So all right. Either way,
you know the button at the top that says the green, the yellow, and the red. Press the green button and expand the screen.
I know that. Oh, come on, man. I spent too much time online not to know that. That's not the issue.
I'm just saying that's what he's saying, to expand the screen. Because if you do,
yeah, I know it's already. But I'm saying it's already expanded. So
if it was expanded, it would have expanded here on my screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would expand on everybody's screen, beloved.
Well, I thought it would. Hold on, let me do it again. Because I know I expanded it.
Because once you just took off your sharing, you stop sharing.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing again so I can get this right. Okay.
Right.
So
hey, Garfield, everybody could get in, right? I got a few texts that some people said they couldn't get in.
Everybody got in, brother. If they have the link, I'm right here. So I mean, we have. Hold on. And to be,
You're talking about the ones that didn't pay Tazaria, probably.
Nah, they paid.
Hey, shout out to Kim Zealand in the building, by the way, from Clubhouse. Shout out to Kim Zealand. I got to give her a quick shout out right there. I see her in the house. I just want to say shout out to Kim Zealand. All right.
There you go, Shaka. There you go.
You can see it.
You just got off.
You just got off. You went back off.
Right back on. I'm putting it right back on. Okay.
There you go. There it is.
Okay. Man, this is.
Let's get it.
1 second. This is why I hate Zoom. Zoom sucks. 1 second, because it's still not fully expanded. Now it's fully expanded.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Because you got to expand it twice. You got to expand it on the screen thing, and then you got to expand it in PowerPoint. So you got to expand it twice.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Time.
We going. All right. So, whenever you're ready, you can start me. Just let me know that you started me.
All right.
Just remember, you got 15 minutes, Shaka. So you want to do what you do. Don't get started.
Yeah, I know.
All right, there you go, bro. You can start when you're ready.
All right. Okay. All right. So the first thing that I want to address very quickly is Tazaryach lied about the title. I have the title right here on the screen. He said that it was called Kemit versus the Bible, right? That's what he said. Now, if it was called Kemit versus the Bible, I'm not supposed to be able to mention the Bible. He's not supposed to be able to talk about Kemit. So why would it be titled? There's the title right in front of you. Remember I told you, even when they try to tell the truth, they lie. Literally everything that comes out of their mouth is a lie. Look at the title. It says, who ancient writings can fix the black community? Whose records are stronger? Saturday, April, Tazaryach, and Shaka Amos. It doesn't say anything about the Bible. It doesn't say anything about Kemit. So that was a lie, L-I-E, all capital letters. And if we were charging money for lies, you would owe me money right now. So we go put that in your lie bank. That's number one, okay? So if you listen to his conversation, two things I want to address, and I'm going to move forward. One, his big critique about Kemit is that Kemit was 3,000 years ago, and therefore it can't address anything that's modern. I take issue with that, because if you were talking about modern, you would not have just kept us in the 18th and 19th century for the past 15 minutes, over 15 minutes. So that is hypocrisy and a double standard. So you want to say that your out-of-date shit is better than your out-of-date stuff is better than our out-of-date stuff. That's basically your argument, right? Because you literally just kept them, you kept the entire 400 people, or however many people are watching, you literally just kept them in the 18th and 19th century. I don't know if you know this, but right now, there's artificial intelligence. None of that existed in the 18th and 19th century. So you were really, really out of sync, okay? I'm hearing somebody's mic. Please mute.
Hold on a second.
And stop my time.
There you go. I stopped that.
It's mine. I just came in. I'm trying to see how this thing works. I'm sorry.
All right, somebody mute her, please.
All right, there you go. You're good, sis. You're good. All right, go ahead, Shaka. I'll start your time as soon as you start speaking.
Okay, I'm starting to speak now. So again, that was just more of the double speak of Hebrew Israelites. It's always a sleight of hand and tricks and mirrors, okay? And I just showed you that in real time. You could see with your own two eyes what the title is. It's not what he said it was. And you can also bear witness to the fact that he just kept you all in the 18th and 19th century, right? And that's really important. Why is that? Because what it tells you is, if you notice, everything that he said was about what slaves did. Slaves did this, slaves did that, slaves this, slaves that. He just spoke to you about 15 minutes about slaves. That's what he talked about, slaves. So basically, the subtext is he wants to keep you in a slave posture. Do what the slaves did, because that's going to be the solution to your problems. Does that make sense to you, to act as slaves in a free society, in a purported free society? Tell me how that makes sense and how that adds up. That is illogical. That is illogical to use the solutions of slaves within a free society. That makes no sense. It's like taking both of your shoelaces and tying them together and say, I'm going to go run this race against everybody else who has on, who had their shoes tied properly. It's just more Hebrew idiocy. Now let's move forward. Here we go. All right. This is from Columbia University Irving Medical Center. Right? So, and he also, not only did he keep you in the 18th, 19th century in a slave posture, but the other subtext to that is that your problems are essentially spiritual, right? That's the main message, that the main problem that Black people have is a spiritual problem, right? And so what I'm going to document for you is that the main problem that Black people have is not a spiritual problem, okay? So we're going to deal with that, and then we're going to come back to dealing with the title, because that's very important if I make it. Okay, this is from Columbia University Irving Medical Center, Columbia University Department of Psychology. Okay, they published this article. It's fairly recent, so I think it's very relevant to what we're talking about, right? Addressing mental health in the Black community. The Black community suffers from an increased rate of mental health concerns. You want to know what your problems are? Bingo, there you go. Every time you walk out into your community and you see all kind of aberrations, you see people walking around begging, barely wearing decent clothes, they're out of their minds, they're on methadone, they're on heroin, all over the place. People are all kinds of stuff, right? Things going on in the family that shouldn't, it's all mental illness, all of it. That's ground zero for your problems. It's mental illness. It's not a spiritual problem. It's a psychological one. Okay, let's be very clear on that. All right, so we could take that book and throw it in the garbage. Number one, okay, the Black community suffers from an increased rate of mental health concerns, including anxiety and depression. the increased incidence of psychological difficulties in the Black community. You heard that? Increased incidence of psychological difficulties. We're talking, this is what ties you up. This is what will keep both of your shoes tied together. Psychological difficulties, not spiritual issues. Get out of the 10 Commandments, the movie's over, okay? The increased incidence of psychological difficulties in the Black community is related to the lack of access to appropriate and culturally responsive. Did you hear that? Culturally responsive mental health care. The problem is part of your mental issues are the cultures that you are subscribing to. They are dysfunctional. You've been in that church how long? He just documented for you how long you've been in that church. And you want to know why you have psychological problems? There it is, documented for you in red ink, okay? They have lack of access to appropriate and culturally responsive mental health care. The church, the Bible is not culturally responsive mental health care, okay? He also said something about we. What did he say about we? Inspired, but all of his rants keep you from traveling. He said something, yeah. He said something about we and us when it comes to the Bible. Or we're keeping our culture. You haven't proved it's our culture. So don't stop with the fake argument, right? You failed to prove that. So let's continue to move. Right. So lack of culturally responsive mental health care. We suffer what also exacerbates it is prejudice and racism inherent in the daily environment of Black individuals and historical trauma enacted on the Black community by what? The medical field, okay? So that means the very people who are supposed to be helping you are actually exacerbating the problem because of the aforementioned issues, which is racism and the other things, prejudiceness, a lack of culturally responsive healthcare, and what else? Historical trauma, right? And moreover, given that the Black community exists in the intersection of racism, classism, and health inequity, their mental health needs are often what? Exacerbated and mostly unfulfilled. When you walk out into the streets, my people, and you look around your own communities, it's not a lack of Bible that has people messed up. It's their overall mental health. You notice nothing that he said addressed that. None of it. None of it spoke to mental health. It was just stories about slaves. That's it. So he's like a spokesperson for Hollywood. You know how every year they come out with a slave movie? 12 Years a Slave. Now they got Will Smith, his new slave movie. Before that, it was another slave movie, right? So Tazaryach is the spokesperson for slave movies. And they do say Hollywood is full of Jews, right? Hollywood is full of Israelites. Hollywood is full of these people of the Bible, right? So it makes sense that all he wants to do is promote slavery amongst us. That's it. That's all he wants to talk about. The slaves did this. The slaves did that. The slaves did this, that, and the third. Okay. Oh, and as far as the other thing, I also wasn't told we were allowed to play videos, so the preparation was poor. The other thing is that Khalid Muhammad, he showed you Khalid Muhammad talking when Khalid Muhammad was still in the Nation of Islam and when he was in the first grade. He didn't show you Khalid Muhammad when he left and went to the United African Movement and was wearing Ankh and Kente cloth. He didn't show that Khalid Muhammad. So that first bit of smoke and mirrors, that's disqualified. Throw that in the garbage. I don't even need to show a picture of that because everybody has seen Khalid Muhammad with the AK-47 and the big fat ankh on his forering. So if you don't, just go Google it, right? Let's continue. Issues. So remember, these mental health needs are often exacerbated and mostly unfulfilled. Think about that, people. The Bible can't solve that. If the Bible could solve that, we would have been mentally healthy the whole time. He said we were using it since slavery. So we've been using this in slavery. We should have the best mental health if that's what it can cure. But since it hasn't cured it, and since we are disproportionately representative in the mental health community, in the mental health issue community, then that alone should tell you something. That what's coming out of his mouth is horseshit. Okay, let's continue. Issues related to economic insecurity. So now it's talking about how your mental health is affecting your finance, right? You can't fix a broke community without finance. You can't do it. Not gonna happen. Sorry. Come back to reality, all right? Issues related to economic insecurity, right? And the associated experiences, such as violence and criminal justice. We got gang violence and violence from the police. Everybody trying to kill us. Everybody, even female violence against their male partners is on the rise. So it's think about it. We know what violence, we know we the only community that you walk through where people get shot like it's nothing. And we know when we complain about mass shooters and we complain about police, racist police, but you know we was doing it up long before either one of those people came along. You know getting shot in the Black community is like walking to the store to get bread. You know this. So let's stop playing games. Let's stop playing Bible games with each other. All right. So anyway, issues related to economic insecurity and the associated experiences such as violence and criminal injustice further serve to compound the mental health disparities of the Black population. Right. Research suggests that the adult Black community is 20% more likely to experience serious mental health problems, such as major depressive disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. This is what most Black men have, whether you know it or not, even the ones that look normal. Additionally, Black emerging adults. Now, this is documentation on the kind of people we're producing after being in the, I can't mention the church, right? So this is what we're producing, okay? This is what we're producing. Black emerging adults, ages 18 to 25, also experience high rates of mental health problems and lower rates of mental health service utilization compared to white emerging adults and older Black adults. So you think your number one problem is spiritual when the documentation is telling you you're lagging behind psychologically behind white emerging adults. That means the young people we're producing are lagging behind young white people. And that ain't a Bible issue unless you're a freaking retard, okay? These sobering statistics, and they are very sobering, suggest that despite efforts to reduce disparities among race and class in the U.S., inequalities are increasing. How long have we had the Bible? And everything is all of this adverse stuff is on the increase. That alone is your clarion call that the Bible is not your answer, period. Okay? Right. So when you look at this image right here, right?
The knuckleheads, we just can't blow them up.
Hey, yo, can somebody please mute her?
The more all of us as human beings get
Yo,
along,
somebody mute her. Yeah. Stop my time.
And sometimes it's small talks. People can get along. Forget about all this hatred and stuff.
Okay, I'm going to
hello. Let's get along on this planet. But
hey, yo, kick that nigga out, man. Kick him out, man.
He's out.
Nah, that was the moderator's fault, man. I want my 5 minutes back. That was going on for damn near 5 minutes.
My brother, I stopped the clock. I was muted.
Yeah, he kicked him
that wasn't
out,
5
man.
minutes.
Get to the topic, Shaka. Yeah.
All right, let's go.
All right, carry on.
All right, as you can see in this image, this is emblematic of the Black community. All you got to do is walk out to 125th Street or go down in the subway or get on a bus. We know we can't even bring our children anywhere in our communities because this is rampant. This has nothing to do with lack of Bible. Okay? So the number one problem in the Black community is character deficit presents as mental illness. Why am I talking about character deficit? Well, because when you ask the average Black person what is character, they're going to have the wrong answer. I'll prove it to you right now. I want all of you to ask yourself, what is character? I'm going to give you 3 seconds for you to give your own self an answer. 3, 2, 1. Now, you need to write your answer down on a piece of paper to see if you were wrong or right. So when I show you what it is later, you can determine if I know what I'm talking about or not. What is character? That is the question. All right? Now, we just spoke about mental illness, right? Rampant in the Black community. This is the instruction of Amenemope, Ancient Egyptian Literature, Volume 2, New Kingdom, Dr. Marian Lichtime, right? Forgive me, I'm just checking my time. Okay. Oh, shit. All right. So anyway, this is what it says. This is in the introduction to the instruction of Amenemope from Ancient Egyptian Literature, 2nd millennium BCE. With this long work, the genre instruction, they're talking about a specific genre of literature, instruction in Egypt, reaches its culmination. Its worth lies not in any thematic richness, for its range is much narrower than, for example, that of the instruction of Tahotep. Its worth lies in what? The quality of inwardness. Where does mental illness take place? Inwardness, inside your mind. That's what it's addressing. It says, and it proves it right here, the next sentence, though it is still assumed that right thinking and right action will find their reward. The rest of the sentence is irrelevant. What is the literature? What is this literature addressing? Right thinking and right action. Mental health.
You got 2 minutes left, brother.
Thank you. Mental health. This is the answer to your problem. right thinking, and right action. Not all of this slave crap, okay? Mental illness equals what? Systemic wrong thinking and wrong actions. If mental illness is systemic wrong thinking and wrong actions, and this literature is the adverse opposite, the exact reverse of that, which is right thinking and right action, there is no question as where your salvation lies, unless you are culturally and historically illiterate. And I'm not asking you to assume a slave posture. Mental illness versus right thinking and right action. Mental illness is wrong thinking and harmful behavior. Here it is right here. This literature addresses right thinking and right action. I just documented it for you. That is a fact. That is not an opinion or a perspective. The Bible does not address that. And if it does, it didn't explicitly say so. He damn sure didn't present it. Now, so yeah, I'll be addressing this. I'll continue, but I'm be addressing this coming up. Whose ancient writings can fix the Black community? The title, I didn't choose the title. He said himself in his own words, it was his fault. So we're going to address the problem with that title, because until you, pardon the pun, fix that title, you will not be able to solve our problems. I always say, if you ask a poor question, you deserve a poor answer. That was a poor question, but it was only asked by somebody without knowledge because they didn't know how to ask the right question. That's what we're going to be looking at moving forward. Okay, and I'll continue until I stop. Fix, mend, or repair, right? Restore order or tidiness, especially to one's hair, clothes, and makeup. That's a weak definition. Fix versus restore. What does restore mean? Bring back a previous right practice, custom, or situation. Reinstate, return someone or something to a former condition, place, or position. Repair, renovate a building. Buildings matter. Pay attention, because you're going to see something later about buildings, right? Work of art, buildings and human beings in Egypt, right? So as to return to its what? Original condition. He wasn't talking about none of that. Okay? Restore, give. Something previously stolen, taken away, or lost, your language, your culture, your mores, back to the original owner or recipient. We shouldn't be talking about fixing the Black community. It should be talking about restoring. So you had your question wrong. I didn't title the debate, you did. And you were misleading everybody by doing that because you're not an intelligent person. Now.
All right, time, brother.
Boom.
Time. All right, you could unshare your screen. Ladies and gentlemen, again, please do not get off your microphone, no matter how emotional it is, whichever side you're on. Just take notes and respect the platform. All right. I want to say first and foremost, again, thank you, Brother Shaka, for that presentation a while ago, that first 15 minutes. Now here comes the second round from Captain Tazaria. Once you start speaking and you tell me you're ready, my brother, I will tick the clock off. All right. So those, and by the way, for those two people that's in the waiting room that has been disrupting the debate the whole night, you could email me in the morning for a copy of the debate. All right. All right. Here we go. All right. All right. Now your turn, Captain Tazaryach.
Hey, Garfield, I got 2 shares. I just want to share a photo. Because this nigga wasted all that time talking. I see why I think he needed an hour. But I want to share twice. I want to share a photo, and then I want to get to my PowerPoint. So I'm going to share that first, all right? So I'm going to share my screen, because he like calling me a liar. I don't know why he do that. This nigga's a liar. He said I can't talk. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah, ready. Let's go.
So he made a point to say I can't mention the word Bible and Kemit. Why am I talking about that? This nigga got an old photo. Because remember, I'm the one came up with the title. So look at this screen right here. It's on my Facebook page. If y'all need to see the date. Whose ancient writings can fix the Black community? Whose records are stronger? Captain can only use the Bible. So he can't say I can't mention the Bible. Maybe, Shaka, you might want to, I don't know what type of service you got, but get you a better phone or photo. But don't stop calling me a liar when I'm not. Captain can only use the Bible. Shaka can only use Kemetic records. That's it. So I didn't lie. I told the truth. So I'm going to stop this share, and I'm going to continue to talk about these slaves he don't want to talk about. And I'm going to tell you why. Wait, let me pause. I'm not going to say anything until I share, till I get back in here. All right? So let me go back to my screen share. Let me share screen again. Let me go here. Boom. Boom. And then he complained about me not working. It took him 12 minutes to figure out the shit he was trying to do. So I know you can see my screen. So let me go from current slide. Let me do from current slide. You can see it, and you can see the whole screen of it now, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, I appreciate it. I'll go from here. This man spent all his time to pull out one verse from Miriam Litcham, look like her words, not even Amino Pope's words from Miriam Litcham about mental illness, which mental illness is something that plagues Black people. That's why I'm showing you this timeline. When I get finished this timeline, don't worry, we'll see that the Bible has long been the threshold of fixing, and it's only because we left that. That mental oppression that he's showing in 2023, if we would have kept that Bible the way these men I'm going to read about kept it, we wouldn't have that mental oppression. So I'm going to keep going. This was Henry Highland. I want to highlight this brother again. It says he was a 27-year-old Henry Highland Garner, a newspaper editor and pastor of the Presbyterian Church in Troy, New York. However, captured most of the attention of the delegates with an address to the slaves of the United States in which he called for their open rebellion. The speech failed by one vote of being endorsed by the convention. If that speech would have happened, it would have been a sanctioned rebellion. This was his quote: "Brethren, arise, arise, strike for your lives and liberties. Now is the day and the hour. Let every slave throughout the land do this, and the days of slavery are numbered." That's the inspiration that he had. He keeps saying, why do I ask, why am I referencing the Bible? Why am I talking about the past? Romans 15:4 says, whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning, that through patience and comfort of the scriptures, we might have hope. The only thing we have is our records. Is it not him using Kemetic records, me using biblical records? We're using stuff of old. So I'm showing history and how we use that history to build ourselves up, and then the failure of Black people not wanting to stand with those rebels, not wanting to stand with those militant men and women that was about the rise and strength of Black people. It said, you cannot be more oppressed than you have been. You cannot suffer greater cruelties than you already have. That's a camp speaking. That's the Henry Highland would be Captain such and such in ISUBK with that speech right there. I'm gonna keep going. During the 1770s and 80s, Black ministers began to preach their own people, drawn on stories and events depicted from the Old and New Testament. They wasn't depicting from nothing else. No story spoke more powerful than the story of Exodus. Like movies inspire. I remember when Panther came out, all y'all niggas was Wakanda forever. Y'all doing this shit here. Y'all doing all that because visuals and stories are inspiring. But there ain't never been nothing more inspiring than the Bible. Exodus, as an example, with themes of bondage and liberation brought out by a righteous and powerful God who would one day set them free. A few Black preachers in the South succeeded in establishing independent Black churches. One of them was Andrew Bryan. The white community did not like that there was a lot of African-American people gathering for its services. The slave masters did not want slaves listening to Brian, just like our oppressor don't want them listening to us today. God forbid we stop selling drugs, which I'm gonna address. God forbid we stop being homosexual. We stop aborting babies. We stop tearing up the Black family, which I'm gonna show how the Bible fixes all of that. God forbid we stop doing that. And they didn't like it back then. It says, because they believed he was plotting a rebellion. The slaves did not attend the services, were whipped. The slaves that did were whipped, shackled, hanged, beat, and imprisoned. It didn't stop him, though. Brian was accused of plotting a rebellion and was thrown in jail, but he won the case. When when the case was analyzed by the Justice of Inferior Court, it resulted in Brian and Samson being found innocent. That's why I have Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time that now is high time to wake up out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we ever believed. I'll go to the next slide. David Walker, another brother, David Walker wrote a whole article to the damn Supreme Court. And he said, Walker found oppression of fellow Blacks unbearable. If I remain in this bloody land, he later recalled thinking, I would not live long. He was only in his 20s either. He was a young man that saw the oppression of Black people, and he was a pastor too. It says, how much? And I cannot remain where I must hear slaves' chains continually and where I must encounter insults of their hypocritical enslavers. Consequently, as a young adult, he moved to Charleston, South Carolina, a mecca for upwardly mobile free Blacks. He became affiliated with the strong African Methodist Episcopal Church. Them church I said that was founded, you ain't gonna find no Kemit churches nowhere, but you're gonna find the Episcopal Church with the activists and the members. And once he got that, this is what he wrote. It says, our wretchedness in consequence of the preachers of the religion of Jesus Christ. Religion, my brethren, is a substance of deep consideration among all nations of the earth. The pagans have a kind, as well as the Mohammedans, the Jews, and the Christians. But pure, undefiled religion, such as was preached by Jesus Christ, Yahushua Mashiach, and his apostles, is hard to be found in all the earth. That's where he's drawn from. It's not mental to be spiritual. It's mental to not have no spirit, because when what you yield your spirit to is what you yield your morality to. You look at America, you look at blacks yielding their spirit to America. That's why we don't have no morality. When you yield it to that Bible, like he's talking about, now you instantly have to have a morality if you're following it. It says God, through the instrument of Moses, again, we talk about Moses. And again, if they talk about Moses, Egypt has to be the enemy. Handed a dispensation of his divine will to the children of Israel after they left Egypt. He then, by his apostles, handed a dispensation of his, together with the will of Christ, to the European and Europe, who in open violation of which have made merchandise of us. Now he's calling them out on using the Bible to make merchandise of us, which is also in the Bible. 1 Peter 2:3 tells you that they will make merchandise of us. I'm going to go to the next slide. This other David Walker's quotes. David Walker's appeal, arguably the most radical of all anti-slavery documents, caused a great stir when it was published in September of 1829 and called for slaves to revolt against their masters. David Walker, a free black, originally wrote from the South, they want us for their slaves and think nothing of murdering us. Therefore, if there is an attempt made by us, kill or be killed. These are the type of men we had back then that was inspired by the Bible. And that's why I'm going through this historical timeline, because there came a time where it stopped. I'm going to go to the next slide. Oh, Nat Turner. Nat Turner is another brother, probably the most famous. Y'all probably don't know the Georges and the David Walkers that I've mentioned, but you know Nat Turner. Nat Turner's sources from the time of the revolt referred to Nat Turner as a preacher, and Nat Turner thought of himself as a man of God, perhaps even as a prophet chosen by God. So some of the scriptures that I have as a quote. It says, having arrived to the man's estate and hearing scriptures commented on meetings, I was struck with that particular passage which says, seek ye the kingdom of heaven, and all things shall be added to you. A lot of people think the Israelites are just sitting on our hands, not doing nothing. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It says, as I was praying one day at my plow, the Spirit spoke to me saying, seek ye the kingdom of heaven, and all things shall be added unto you. Luke 12:31. About this time, I also had a vision. I saw white spirits and black spirits engaged in battle. Again, another slave, another revolutionary man getting a vision from the Most High, the God of this book. And it says, the thunder rolled in the heavens and the blood flowed in the streams. And I heard a voice saying, such is your luck. Such are you called to see. And let it come rough or smooth, you must surely bear it. That's Isaiah 40:4, Luke 3:5. And the Holy Spirit was with me and said, behold me as I stand in the heavens. And look, I saw the forms of men in different attitudes. That's Isaiah the 65th chapter. It was plain to me that the Savior was about to lay down a yoke he had borne for the sins of men. And the great day of judgment was at hand. That's Matthew 11:20. That's Bible verses. On the 12th of, no, I'll go to the next slide, Salaki. This is what W.E.B. Du Bois wrote about those same free men, which I'm a free man. I can talk the way I talk because they was free back then, just like I'm free to speak what I say now. This is what W.E.B. Du Bois wrote. It says, we often neglect the influence of the freedman before the war because of the paucity of his numbers and the small weight he had in the history of the nation, because history would not uplift what they would call the rebels. America is never going to glorify the rebels. They'll glorify like a Martin Luther King. He wasn't a rebel, but they wouldn't glorify Malcolm or Nat or Khalid. They won't or Commander General. They won't glorify them. We must not forget that his chief influence was internal. That same internal shit Shaka was talking about, where he just want to be about wisdom. The influence that was internal for them was exerted on the black world, meaning they went and did something about it. And that there he was the ethical and social leader. I want him to show, this is Shaka, where they used any of his records to be an ethical and social leader, because I'm showing it. I'm showing in this debate that whether it was from back then or when we get to 2023, we use that Bible to be ethical and social leaders. The masses of the freed men sank into poverty and listlessness, but not all of them. The free Negro leader arose, and his chief characteristic was intense and earnestness and deep feeling on the slavery question. They get mad when they say, all y'all doing is yelling on the street, because y'all don't know what it means to be intense, to be angry. Like we just read about David Walker. He said he can't bear to listen or hear the chains of slavery. That's how we feel today when we see our brothers and sisters destroyed the way that they destroyed. We can't bear to hear it. And we get instilled in us the influence to be an ethical and social leader. That's the pattern I'm showing. Freedom became a real thing to him and not a dream. His religion became more darker and intense. So he wasn't the step and fetch it type of Christian. And into his ethics crept a note of revenge, and into his songs a day of reckoning at hand. The coming of the Lord swept this side of death and came to be a thing to be hoped for in a day. Through fugitive slaves and irrepressible discussion, this desire for freedom seized the black millions still in bondage. That's what the Bible inspired. That's what we inspire every day. Now, let me not talk about Marcus Garvey. You're red, black, and green. That was a brother that believed in the Bible.
3 minutes, 3 minutes,
So
3
when
minutes.
you put that red, black, and green up, just remember Marcus Garvey. This is what Marcus Garvey said. Considering the strong political and economical black nationalism of Garvey's movement, it seems odd to include an essay on his website on religion in America. Garvey himself claimed that his Declaration of Rights of the Negro peoples of the world, along with the Bible, served as the holy writ for our Negro race. He stated very clearly that as we pray to the Almighty God, not Ra, as we pray to the Almighty God to save us through his holy words, so shall we with confidence in ourselves follow the sentiment of the Declaration of Rights and carve our way to liberty. For Garvey, it was no less than the will of God for black people to be free, to determine their own destination. His organization and its motto, one God, one aim, he took from Psalms 68 and 31. When it say, princes shall come out of Egypt. Why is it saying princes shall come out of Egypt? I have the scriptures right here. Isaiah 27 and 12. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off the channel of the river of the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel. Marcus Garvey's influence was the Bible. Isaiah 27 and 13, and this shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria and the outcasts in the land of Egypt. It's not that deep. What I have here, how much time I got? It says princes shall...
1.5 minutes, my brother. 1.5 minutes.
I'm gonna skip this one. This is just talking more about Marcus Garvey. This is the Black now we're getting into some shit now. The Black Convention movement in Black politics in 19th century America. If I don't finish it on this slide, this is where I'll pick up on the next slide. African-American leaders throughout the 19th century recognized the significance of creating and sustaining national organizations that was built upon local political networks. Central to this was the Black Convention movement. A survey of many local, state, national Black conventions from the 1830s to the 1890s revealed exactly how African Americans sought to defend their rights as American citizens in the public sphere. These conventions were part of a broader political environment of mass meetings, whether formal conventions or community meetings in the local Black churches, that provided necessary space through which the Black popular politics could operate in the 19th century America. First organized by free African Americans in 1830, conventions met periodically throughout the 19th century. The early meetings focused primarily on the abolition of slavery. However, 10 seconds. I'm gonna stop right here. I'll yield those 10 seconds, Garfield. I'll stop here.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Let me stop the time. Let me get my brother Shaka Amos in the building so he could do what he needs to do. You could share your screen, brother. Make sure everything is good. And I'll start as soon as you start speaking. All right. Peace and love, family. Make sure you keep your mics muted. Turn your videos off. Stop video. The only person's video I should be seeing, well, two people, is Captain Tazaryach and brother Shaka Amos. All right. So Shaka, when you're ready, you could share, and I'll make sure that everything is right before I start the time. You have 50 minutes. This is your round 2.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hey, brother, hold on 1 second. Brother Denzel Brown, I don't know if you just got in, but you got to mute your mic and you got to turn off your camera, beloved. All right. That's your first warning. The second one, I'm going to have to kick you out.
Okay, all right.
All right.
It's off.
I'll turn you. Oh, man. Don't worry about it, brother. I'll turn your camera off for you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Let me know when you're ready. I'm ready. I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me make sure this clock is fine. All right. As soon as you're ready, as soon as you start speaking.
Okay.
All right.
I just want to make sure that you guys can see. Is my screen full?
It's not full. No, it's not full.
All right. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, the reason I take issue with Zoom is because I use better material. I use better software. Let me see. I'm trying to quit. This thing won't let me quit. Hold on a second. Stop sharing. Okay. All right, now it's letting me quit. So you can't do both. It's not gonna let me do both. That's really strange. I can do this, but I can hit slide here. Play from current slide. Okay, I can do it from there. All right, cool. That's not a problem. Play from current slide. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I know what the issue is. Give me 1 second. Okay, that's there. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right, so the first thing, I'm gonna start talking right now. The first thing I'm not gonna let him do is lie and hide behind the Bible, because that's what these Hebrew Israelites have been doing since forever. He says he wants me to show and prove that they used Kemetic writing during slavery, and that I can't show that. This is the reason he didn't want me to go into the Bible, okay? I'm documenting for you right here, where it says, right here, the editor of Proverbs 22:17 to 24:22 received and adopted the wisdom of Amenemot. Okay, so therefore, all of these Bible people that you were talking about during slavery, when they were reading the Bible, they were reading Kemetic literature. That's a fact, and it's documented. This editor had access to all or almost all of the book of Amenemot. Okay, it is in Proverbs. You can't change that. Nothing can change that. These are the things you want to hide. That's why you tried to restrict me during this debate.
Hold on 1 second. Let me pause the time. Excuse me. What happened to Tazaryach?
He just broke the rules.
No, I didn't break no rules. I'm answering your question. You wanted me to show Kemetic literature being used during slavery. I just did it. You don't want people to know it's in the Bible. I didn't break any rule. I'm talking about Kemetic literature.
Rules of the debate is I can't talk about Kemit. You can't talk about the Bible.
But you did talk about Kemit when you said they didn't use Kemetic literature. You did talk about Kemit.
I didn't pull up no.
You did talk about Kemetic literature. When you said they did not use Kemetic literature, you spoke about Kemit.
All right, let me take over. Let me take over.
No, you're not getting away with that, bro.
Hold on 1 second. Everybody stop. Now, the rule is the flyer says you got to use the Kemetic literature.
That's what I'm talking about, Kemetic literature. I'm talking about Kemetic literature.
All right, hold on, real quick. He is not, he's talking about Kemetic literature.
I'm talking about Kemetic literature.
Captain used the word Kemit.
That's
Shaka
right.
have a right to use the word.
Nobody said you can't use the word. No, he's saying that the Bible copied. This is not a plagiarism debate.
I'm not talking about plagiarism. I'm talking about Kemetic literature.
That's what he
said. That's your problem.
And Captain, you can't do that when he's.
That's what he's trying to do.
You should wait till his lecture is over, and then you can talk.
I tell you what, he can do whatever he wants. I just wanted to interrupt and let it know he's breaking the rules.
No, I'm not breaking any rules. You broke the rules. I'm not breaking any rules. I'm talking about Kemetic literature.
Do your thing, brother. Do your thing.
I'm talking about Kemetic literature.
I knew this was all you could do.
I'm talking about Kemetic literature. If all you can do is plagiarize and ask about Kemit, then I back.
Hey, stop. Hey, time out. Captain, you made your point. Mute your mic.
Out of line.
I just wanted to expose the fool. I'm done. I'm muted.
Yeah,
all right, cool.
Mute yourself. Mute yourself. There you go. All right.
All right, get his
Now,
time
so,
right, Garfield. Start
again.
his time over, Garfield, because he gotta. You can't
Yeah,
let
He
the
good,
mic
he
come
good,
in.
he good, he good.
Give him his full 15 minutes back. He could back the slide up. I just wanted to show the food. That's all.
Yeah.
All
okay.
right, cool. All right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, go ahead. You ready, Shaka?
Yeah.
All
See,
right, go ahead.
we got a saying in the old school. You got to cheat me to beat me. You can't beat me fair and square. You want to pretend that people are standing on your work when you're actually standing on our work. That's dishonest and deceitful. That's the only thing Hebrew Israelites have to offer anybody. You got the nerve to ask me what Kemetic literature did they use, and then when I put out the documentation to show you that they used our literature that's documented and it's in the same book that these slaves used to be inspired and get free. So they would use the Kemetic literature. I'm not gonna let you hide behind a lie. I don't give a fuck about nothing. Are you kidding me? You gotta be out of your Hebrew mind. Not just Proverbs, Psalms, Jewish and Christian approaches to Psalms, conclusions. Psalm 104 is indeed dependent on Akhenaten's hymn to the sun. So they use the Kemetic literature. Parallels between Psalm 104 and 2030 and Akhenaten hymns in virtuality identical order in its essay. It will be argued that Psalm 104 is indeed dependent on Akhenaten's hymn to the sun. Rather than showing dependence on later Amun-Re hymns, it is very much looks at the author, it very much looks as if the author of Psalm 104 did indeed have access to Akhenaten's hymn to the sun. So stop lying and selling the illusion and the movie, the 10 Commandment movies, that it was some Hebrew literature that was the slaves were reading when they were actually reading and being inspired by Kemetic literature. You lost that. Live with it for the rest of your Hebrew life. Live with it. You gotta be out your mind till you're gonna tie both my hands behind my back and have a lying debate. That's not a debate, that's a setup. And you're not gonna set me up, you're not gonna set up the audience, and you're not gonna set up the literature. You've been doing it for 2,000 years. And you want to come here and do that tonight? No, it's not happening. You got to be out your mind. You got to be literally insane. It tells me everything I need to know about your character. You got to be mentally ill. That's what you got to be. Mentally ill. Now, I have a question for y'all. Garfield, as the moderator.
You know your screen is not sharing, Shaka.
So the stuff that I just read, was it sharing on the screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you. All right, hold on one second. Let me
stop your time. Let me stop your time.
Thank you. Stop my time, please. I'm going back to my other debate, my other presentation. I got it. Oh, all right, do this. Maybe I can get full screen. No, full screen. I'm just trying to get it full screen again. And say, why you gotta cheat me to beat me? If you good, you should be able to beat me fair and square. You want to be a boxer and put iron rings in your gloves while the other guy's fighting with regular gloves. Huh, come on, man. You want somebody else to play fair while you don't play fair. That ain't fair. If you're gonna beat me fair and square. Don't lie. Hold on, man. I didn't put, let me close that other one because I don't want it to go. This is not what I'm trying to show. I dealt with that. This is what I'm trying to show. All right. Stop share. Let me make sure that you can see my screen. Please hold my time for 1 second. I just want to make sure that I have everybody set up to see the screen. Okay. I'm gonna say I broke the rules. I didn't break any rules. You broke the rules when you mentioned Kemit. They didn't read Kemetic literature. That's a lie. That's a lie. Please. Here we go. No. Yeah, I'm just trying to get this. So, you know what? I'll just show it without the thing in full, whatever. Table, picture, screenshot. Here we go, slideshow. This is what I'm looking for. Slideshow, play from current slide. All right. I'll let you know when I'm ready to go. Okay. I'm ready to go. In fact, yeah, I'm just gonna, all right, I'm ready to go whenever you're ready.
All right, go ahead, brother. It's all
okay.
You.
All right, I already showed you that the problem was with the title. Now, you might not see some of the literature that I'm going to show later on, but I have to deal with this for you to be able to understand it. It doesn't make sense if I show you something that you don't understand it. The word fix is wrong. You're taking a wrong approach to the problem. You can't, fixing something that's broken, it's, what's the point of fixing it? It's broke. You fix something when it could still be repaired, but when it's broken, right? Restore. I already read the definition of restore, right? Now we're going to go to community. Community is the wrong word. A group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common, right? This is the lesser definition, right? This is less than, right? The people of a district or country considered collectively, especially in the context of social values and responsibilities, society. Now, but they use society as an afterthought. The word you want to go for is society. You want to use restore society, right? Because you have to know the difference between a community and a society. He doesn't, okay? The aggregate of people living together in a more or less ordered society. Not anything could be a society. You can have anything could be a community. You can have a community in a psych ward in a hospital. You can have a community in prison, in jail, community of inmates. You got all of these things. LGBTQ is a community, right? That doesn't make any of these things society. You have to know the difference between the two. The community of people living in a particular country or region and having shared custom, laws, and organizations, a specified section, fashionably wealthy and influential. That means having wealth, right? A distinct group in a community, okay? Continue. This is the word I want you to remember. The word is not community. The word is kedut. This is the root word you will need to remember through the rest of my presentation. Ked. Remember this word, ked. We don't need 100 books. Kemit didn't need 100 books. They only needed one word, ked. It means society, all right? Kemit means the black settlement or town. We always lean toward the greater definition. So it's not vicinity or black settlement. It's society, black town, right? And the word you want to look for is shurud, which means strengthen, maintain, perpetuate, flourish, or restore. And it's in reference to buildings, but not just buildings. So the word you want to look for, right? Here we know it's town. Just this from Middle Egyptian, that the newt symbol is for town. There it is right there, town. Why is town important? Town is important because it is. A community does not have this. A town is a municipality. What is a municipality? A town, a city or town that has corporate status. What are you restoring black people to? You're not telling us what status you're restoring us to. You're not even talking about restoring. You're talking about fixing. It's about restoring a city or town that has corporate status. This is something that's worth restoring, right? Settlement you don't use because it's what? Community. Community doesn't tell you anything, right? This is ignorance talking. Municipality, town, corporate. This is from, I can't see the title because this thing is blocking me. Oh, kinship and family in ancient Egypt, archaeology and anthropology and dialogue. The 6 attributes that the primary sources reveal for kin groups in ancient Egypt are that they all live in the same household or area. They are displayed and commemorated together on monuments, right? And what is, okay, and they can function as an economic units or corporate groups. So when you're talking about restoring something, right? You're talking about restoring a society. And when you talk about what kind, you're talking about a town, right? Not a community or not a settlement. You're talking about a town. Why? Because that's corporate status. You have to know what you're talking about, okay? You're not qualified. You're reading slave stories. Every other word out your mouth was still slave. You're stuck in a slave mentality. They are under the authority of one man who acts as the head of the group. That's what you call a CEO. The definition of kin groups is thus flexible and purely performative. It is based on what a kin group does rather than what it's supposed to be. It's action-oriented behavior. What he was talking about what somebody did, this is about doing, right? The main attribute is arguably displayed in commemoration because most of the sources tend to be monumental. What are the last 6 letters of monumental? Mental. He doesn't know that. He can't teach you that. None of you never even noticed that, and you don't know why it's mental, right? I'm gonna show you why right now. Monumental in nature, representing an idea of the group that the Egyptians themselves were trying to transmit to their contemporary and future audiences. They were trying to tell you how to restore yourself. That's why these monuments exist. They are testamentary in nature, okay? Oh, and as far as them using the Bible during slavery, look, if the Bible was a tool, you use what tool is available. Just because it's available is no indication that it is the best tool for the job. It's what was available. So come out of your fantasy world. Stop talking stupid. It just sounds stupid. It's I can't even describe how it sounds like somebody who's mentally ill. That's what it sounds like. Okay, let's continue, right? So corporate, why? This is what I teach in my course, Kemetic, business, the true religion of ancient Egypt. If you think you're going to restore the black society, because that's what we're talking about, not fixing a black community. We're talking about restoring a black society. That idiot doesn't know the difference between a community and a society. He would have spoke about it if he did. All right, take my course, Kemetic. I teach business is the true religion of ancient Egypt, and I show you the documentation to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. So you don't want to fix the black community, okay? This is a society. This is Black Wall Street. That's why a society is a threat, not a community. That's why they destroyed it. They destroyed it because it was a prosperous Black society. Why did they have to destroy a Black society? Because women go where the money flows. White women eventually would have been flowing over into that region because the Black men would have had all the money. That equals white genetic annihilation. This is what Frances Cress Welsing was trying to tell you. And she named her book The ISIS Papers. That should tell you something. Come on, people. Use your goddamn brains. This is not even a debate. It's like taking candy from a baby. Are you kidding me? You don't know what you're talking about. These are communities. Bellevue Hospital, New York. Psych Ward is a community. Elmira Correctional Facility, New York, the inmates, that's a community. They don't have societies. LGBTQ, that's a community. They don't have society, although they're starting to reach society status. But they hide behind the word community because it makes them a protected class. Why does it make them a protected class? Because community equals powerlessness. He doesn't know this. He can't teach you this. He's trying to fix something that is powerless. Look at your Black communities. Haven't you lived long enough being powerless, being led by people that don't understand and can't teach you because they're stuck in a slave posture and slave mentality? So the Bible was a tool used at that time. The slaves also used muskets to get free in the Civil War. Are you saying we should use muskets today against AK-47s? Against AR-15s, we should use muskets because that's that slave's mentality. That slave Tazaryach, that's what he's telling you. Because slaves used it, it's therefore the best thing for us. He's mentally ill. He has a Bible psychosis. And those of you who are following him are equally mentally ill. Somebody has to show you this. It's about restoring Black society. This is the original Black Wall Street. Right here, don't you see the big wall? Look, you got 4 walls collapsed on each other. Where do you think they got the concept of Wall Street from, you idiots? Huh? They put it on your goddamn money to tell you, and you still don't see it. I mean, you gotta be a special kind of mentally ill person. Goddamn, right? This is Seneferu Ka, right? Seneferu Ka, it means Seneferu appears. Why is it named after this king, this Black man, this African? Seneferu appears, here it is. Why? There's a reason for it, because it's not just a building. Shadud, strengthen, maintain, perpetuate, flourish, restore buildings. The word for society is kedut, okay? The word for society is kedut. The root word is ked. You have to know what ked means to understand how this stuff works. Do you see this right here? This arrow going up the slope of the pyramid? It's called a seked. The root word is ked, slope of a pyramid, ked, right? The next word is sesh kedut. Right? We're in our writing now. We got to use Kemetic writings. Ked, it means draftsman. What does a draftsman do? Painter, outline. What does a draftsman do? Right here, creates blueprints. If you're going to restore society, you need blueprints. He's not talking about a blueprint because he doesn't have one. He's got slave stories from a Bible and being inspired by movies. He said it himself. Didn't he mention movies? I didn't. He mentioned movies. He's stuck. He's stuck in Hollywood. The man has no scholarship. None. Draftsman. Right, it's in our word. We need one word. You're going to see how many different things this one word relates to, right? Here it is right here. Blueprint, plan, design, blueprint, design, plan, technical drawing, blueprint, plan, design, drawing, sketch. What does kedut mean? The same word for society, kedut. It means drawing, sketch. Why? Because it's the product of a blueprint. That's why they left it for you, so you can look at it. Slope, seked, slope of a pyramid. Kedut, draftsman. Kedut, drawing, sketch. This equals blueprint from the Vigus Dictionary. That's what you're looking at. But you're looking at the pyramid. You're looking at a blueprint to restore society, okay, and to maintain it. He tried to tell you. That's why he made the sign. Look, the pyramid, and it's named after a Hebrew god, Hova, but he's holding up a Kemetic symbol. Why didn't he hold up a picture of a menorah? Why? Because Hova is not even a Kemetic, not a Hebrew god. It's an Egyptian god. I'm in Hebrew. I'm in Kemetic writing. This is Dr. Ben in Kemetic writing. How did the ancient Africans of Egypt, Northeast Africa, write Jehovah? Right? The strangest chain of events in Egyptian religious history is topped by the 26th dynasty's divine emblem of the figure of one of the gods named Yahweh. Okay? Written in hieroglyphs, and he gives you the hieroglyphs.
Yo, hold up, man. Hold up. Who's doing all that noise?
Yo, will you please mute that person? Damn. Okay? So, yo, Garfield, would you please stop my time?
Hold on, Shaka. Don't move, Shaka. Hold on.
That's been going on for damn near 5 minutes.
Everybody always going for 5 minutes with you, Shaka.
Yeah, man. Stop that. Stop that.
Hold on. All right, everybody mute. Shaka, go ahead. I'll give you an extra 30.
You
30
can
to
still
45.
hear it. You can still hear it, Garfield.
Oh, I can't find the person. Hold on 1 second.
Motorola, Garfield. Motorola.
Hold on, beloved. Hold on.
All the way on the bottom, the Moto G.
All right, hold on 1 second, family. Hold on 1 second. Everybody's silent. Relax. I got this.
Hey, this wouldn't have happened on our pay-per-view setup, so I can.
All righty. I think we good. All right, go ahead, Shaka. I'll start when you started. Shaka, you got to unmute your mic.
Let him know how much time he got, Garfield, so you know.
You got 2.5 minutes left. 2.5. I'm gonna give him 3. I'm gonna give him 3 minutes. Shaka, you up, brother?
Shaka, where you at, man? Unmute yourself.
All right, can you hear me?
Now we
Yes,
hear.
sir. You good?
Okay, cool. All right, don't stop. I hope you didn't stop my 3 yet.
No.
Okay. All right, let me know when you're ready.
All right, go ahead, my brother.
Okay, cool. So Dr. Ben showed you in Africa's Nile Valley people, culture, and history. He actually put the glyphs in there. I put the page right here. I photocopied it so you could see it. He's showing you that this is Kemetic writing. This was a Kemetic god. And I'm going to show the Hebrews how to pronounce the name of this Kemetic god that they worship because they don't know how to pronounce it. For the first time, you're going to hear the correct pronunciation. Are you ready? I hope you're ready. Okay, here we go. Okay. Yahu. Yahucha. This is the correct pronunciation. Yahucha. I'm going to say it again. Yahucha. I'm still hearing noise in the background. Yahucha. Okay? The first 4 letters mean divinity. The last is the picture of this God himself, of the God himself. Note that this Egyptian God, I'm not in no Bible. They were in our stuff. I'm not in their stuff. Stop telling that lie. Note that this Egyptian God was adopted by the Heribu, and they say nothing about no Hebrews, and they say nothing about no Israelites, so I'm not in the Bible. In their own mythology about the creation world, and that y'all want to claim to be the Heribu too, because y'all want to be everybody, okay? So you, you know what I'm saying? Confused ass people, right? So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about this, one word, head. This is the root word. It's a slope of the pyramid. It's a blueprint. It's in one word, head. They were trying to tell you this. Hold on 1 second. Head. It also means builder, method of building. It also means build, to fashion men. Isn't that what the Hebrew Israelites claim they do? This in the word. That's why Kemit was so stable and lasted longer than any other civilization on planet. If you're going to restore a society, why would you restore it on a society that lasted 5 minutes like Israel, instead of restoring on a society that was stable for 5,000 years or longer? It's not even logical. You don't even apply the basic logic. It's just plain mentally ill. You have a Bible psychosis. Head, build, fashion of men. The same word as the root word for society. The same word as the root word for the slope of the pyramid. It's right, same word for blueprint. It's all in one word. We don't need 100 books. Here it is right here. Erkedi, to build me up. The same word. It's in all of these things. It's never going to change. Boom. Head, form, nature, reputation, character. Remember we talked about mental illness? Character. Let me show you why character matters. Kedu, character of a people. It's the root word in all of it. Ked. That's what you're looking at when you're looking at the pyramid. You're looking at a ked. You're looking at the character of the people. Why character? Remember I told you write down the definition? None of you said this. Character, the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. This is why people say black people have a low IQ. They're talking about our character, but the average black person doesn't know that character also talks about IQ, not just your morality. It is the combination of both. And when you're looking at the slopes, this is what the KED is. It's what you call a convergent apogee. When these two things are integrated at their highest development, the further they are apart, the more disassociated a person is. That's mental illness. That's what's going on. They avoided that by formulating it. You integrate it. What is an apogee? The highest point in the development of something. That's what these slopes represent. That's why his name, that's why it says Seneferu appears. You are supposed to look at him and think about his mental and moral nature. This is the documented facts of ancient Kemit and what you're looking at when you're looking at these buildings. It's about society engineering. You don't know anything about this. You are idiot. You are idiot.
Right.
You are excellent.
All right.
Let me finish.
Time, my brother.
Oh, you're lucky.
Time. All right. All right. What do you call it? Captain, you're up. You can mute your mic on, brother Shaka Amos. All right. Thank you, my brother. All right. Now, Captain. Stop sharing, beloved.
That nigga boy Jay-Z to the debate. I ain't never seen that shit before, man. He boy, Hove.
No, you ain't never seen that before.
That's gonna get niggas out the street.
Oh man. All right. So Cap, let me know. Are you here, brother?
Hold on. Let me get.
Hey T, I know this hurts, man, but you did it to yourself. But I love you though, man. I love you though.
Man, you out your rabbit ass smile right now, man. This nigga boy Jay-Z to the debate. Oh, hold on. Let me share my screen. Let me share the screen. Boop.
Hey, yo, if you hanging out with Whack 100, I could bring Jay-Z to the debate.
I didn't mention Whack though. I knew not to mention Whack in this debate. This nigga bought a whole. The nigga don't even throw the rock up no more. Good Lord. Okay, let me get to my slideshow. Let me go from current slide. Let me do this share. You can see my screen.
Yes, I can. It's not
one time. Oh, I don't want to show this yet. You know, I'm so used to nuts like Shaka. Then he say, "Grab nuts."
Are you?
I'm sorry. You have to start my time now. You have to start my time right now.
All right, go ahead.
Shaka said, "I want to grab them nuts." You know, I'm used to nuts. Saying stupid shit using the typical plagiarism. So I'll ask him this question later, but as you can see, I be prepared for the whole Proverbs argument. That's easy. I'm just going to pick up my debate because I know how to stick to the subject. The subject is which one. This nigga spent 10 minutes on showing an angle of a pyramid and then said the Lord's name is Yahuwah. Yahuwah. Let me get to it. Now, I'm gonna finish reading. The black convention movement and black Pasanetta. This your king. This your king. Let me quote a movie since this nigga throwing up the rock. This your king, nigga. Black convention movement and black politics in 19th century America. It says, first organized by free African Americans, the 1830 conventions met periodically throughout the 19th century. The early meetings focused primarily on the abolition of slavery. However, unlike white abolitionists, black abolitionists knew the ending of slavery was one thing, but for African Americans, negotiating in a new world without slavery was quite another. As such, these early conventions also argued for equal educational opportunities, land reform, and in the 1850s, the merits of immigration out of the United States. This is all, now what I want everybody to pay attention to, this is all during the time of segregation that they're doing these things. And that's what's important, because even in today's time, when the Zephaniah says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired, it's about us being segregated from everybody else so that we can come up. I'm gonna go to the next slide. I'm gonna skip Black Wall Street just for us. No, I'm gonna skip. So Black Wall Street, everybody kind of knows about Black Wall Street. O.W. Gurley established a church. Hold on. So, Garfield, if you could pause real fast, I just hit a button by mistake. So I
got you, brother. I got you.
Appreciate it. It just messed it up, so I'm just going to do it real fast. I apologize for that. But Shaka been messing up the whole time. They established a church and businesses. And how did they do that? If I go to Acts 2, it says, and they continue steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine. So what doctrine was they under in Wall Street? Under that doctrine of being segregated and being under God and being under that Bible. Even if he tried to say the whole copy thing, he'll never show anything that they built from Kemit at all. He just gonna talk about them old ass pyramids. Don't nobody give a fuck about them pyramids at all today. It's a tourist attraction. They rob y'all niggas. That's why Jabari and all them charging $3,000, $5,000 to go see some pyramids. Niggas stay saving up their hard-earned money to go see a pyramid, come back home broke. So Acts 2:43, and the fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles. Verse 45, verse 44, and they all that believed were together and had all things in common. That's what Wall Street had. They had all things in common. So Gurley had his businesses, and he would loan money to others for them to get their businesses. That's why we ain't had a city built like that. But as we get later on with the MLKs, and when we start segregating, that's going to be integrating. That's when we lost a lot of that. I'm going to go to the next slide. The black church and the key to black well, I'm gonna skip this one for now because I want to get to a couple of living examples. On Staten Island, one of New York's oldest African-American enclaves is presented. This is what they built on the strength of that Bible. One of the community's greatest assets was the Roseville AME Zion Church, founded in 1850. Remember, the church or the spirituality of any nation is the cornerstone because that's what they use. It's almost like a constitution. So black people don't have a constitution. They don't have a morality to follow. They don't have an economic to follow. They don't have none of that to follow. But they established churches, and that became the foundation. That church was under the Bible, under that God. It says, and later housed a plain wooden structure that erected in 1854 on Crabtree Avenue. It was one of several AME Zion churches in the city. Members of its various congregations included Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth. Y'all notice I keep naming the same revolutionaries because they were all committed to being under God, being under that Bible, establishing the church, and fixing the people. That's what he would have to show. Because what do we do today? In Israelite School of UPK, we're under God, under that Bible. We go into cities, build them, and establish schools everywhere. I'm in my school right now. When I got here, this school wasn't built. I built this school. That's what you're supposed to do. It says, I'm going to skip to the next one so I can get to it. Archives and artifacts, the rediscovery and research of Seneca Village, the settlement of Seneca Village in 1825, another village. Let's see how that was established. The Whiteheads owned farmland in the West in the 80s and 90s, but decided to divide up their land into individual lots for sale. Epiphany Davis, a store clerk, was the second person to purchase land, 12 lots out of the church. From there, that whole entire community was born. For all that pyramid crap, all he talk about, he cannot show that they used any of that to build nothing, but I have shown it. This theology by James H. Cohen, which is Black Theology and Black Power. So I can get to the elements of culture. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of this. James H. Cohen was an American theologian, and this is what he wrote about Black theology and Black power. He's a Christian too. It says the term Black power was first used in the civil rights movement in the spring of 1966 by Stokely Carmichael to designate the only appropriate response to white racism. Since that time, many critics have observed there is no common agreement regarding its definition. The complexity of this problem is evident in the development of Marvel analytical philosophy. We are still in the process of defining such terms as democracy, good, evil, and many others. In fact, the ability to probe for deeper meanings of words as they relate to various manifestations of reality is what makes the intellectual pursuit interesting. I'm going to go to the next slide. It says the same is true with the words of Black power. To what object does it point to? What does it mean when it is used by advocates? It means complete emancipation of Black people from white oppression by whatever means Black people deem necessary. That's what he's saying about Black power. The methods may include selective buying, boycotting, marching, or even rebellion. Black power means freedom. Page 35, on the American scene today, as yesterday, one problem stands out: the enslavement of Black Americans. But as we examine what contemporary theologians are saying, we find that they are silent about the enslaved condition of Black people. Evidently, they don't see no relationship between Black slavery and the Christian gospel. Unfortunately, Christianity came to the Black man through white oppressors who demanded that he reject his concern for the world and affirm his Blackness to whiteness. That's how they used to give us Christianity. The last page. Therefore, is it appropriate to ask, is it possible for men to really be Black and still feel any identity with the biblical tradition expressed in the Old and New Testament? Is it possible to strip the gospel as it has been interpreted of its whiteness so that the real message will become a live option for radical advocates of Black consciousness? Is there any relationship at all between the work of God and the activity of the ghetto? Must Black people be forced to deny their identity in order to embrace Christianity? Finally, Black power as described in chapter 1, compatible with Christian faith, or are we dealing with two utterly different perspectives? One more slide and I'm gonna go show y'all something else. It says, page 44, if the gospel is the gospel of liberation for the oppressed, when Jesus is where the oppressed are and continues his work of liberation there, Jesus is not safely confined in the first century. He is our contemporary, proclaiming release to the captives and rebelling against all who silently accept the structure of injustice. If he is not in the ghetto, if he is not where men are living at the brink of existence, but is rather in the easy life of the suburbs, then his gospel is a lie. The opposite, however, is the case. Christianity is not alien to Black power. It is Black power. Now, let's go to elements of culture. You have 7 elements: social organization and society, customs and tradition, language, arts and literature, moral code, government. How do I go? Salakia, Garfield, can you pause 1 second? Oh, I got it. Never mind, Salakia. So elements of culture, social organization, a kinship structure of culture or society, especially as constituted and stabilized network of rules and descent and residence, the system of relationship between persons among groups with regard to the division of activity and functional arrangement of mutual obligations. Deuteronomy 4:6 says, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear your statutes. What we lack is the law, statutes, and commandments. That's the wisdom and understanding that God gave us. In 1 Corinthians 3:19, it says, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness. We follow the wisdom of this world. We will not ascertain anything Black, anything Hispanic, anything Native Indian. When you go to Jeremiah 29:4, it says, the Lord said, when you are carried away into captivity, you go build houses, you dwell in them, you plant gardens, you take ye wives. That's why I showed you what them slaves did. I showed you what them slaves did because them slaves lived Jeremiah the 29th chapter. They went out and built houses. You know what we did? We forgot about that Bible that would instruct us on how to live. If I go further, what do you need to have an organization and structure? You need a chief of tribes, wise men. You make them heads over you. You make them captains over thousands, captains over hundreds. You give them charge. When they do judgment, you make sure that they don't have respect of persons in judgment. Even a king, as Deuteronomy the 17th chapter says, even a king can't rebel against the laws of God. When David committed adultery and murdered that man, there was a prophet that came and held him accountable. That's how you have a social organization. In the Black community, you don't have that. If you followed the Bible, we would have that social structure. If I go further, no, I'm gonna skip this for time's sake. Let's skip that for time's sake. Now we go into customs and traditions. Y'all, the one thing I'll give Shaka credit for, Shaka will carry that Egyptian culture. He'll wear that weave in his head. He'll put the eyeliner on when he's like, and I'm gonna show you. He sing that shit. He sung the shit out of that. Kadazai said he gonna make drill music out of that shit. And I'm gonna show you the blood black land. So now in the elements of culture, y'all can make fun of what we wear, but whereas everybody else was out there celebrating Good Friday and they preparing to celebrate the Easter Bunny, we was keeping our customs and culture. We had the Passover right in North Carolina last week, where brothers and sisters under the guise of that social economic structure of the Bible converged on North Carolina. We met, we had brother, let me show y'all see the pictures here. Let me show the brother because they're gonna say we ain't got no sisters. Y'all see the sisters here? Now, I like this picture because they say if you handicapped or something, you can't come to our feast days or nothing like that. You can't come to the Passover. But we got our kids, we got our family, all living under the guise of that Bible. That's what we lived under. Now we're going, the video is not here though, Salakia, the video, yeah. Now we're going to get into another element of culture is men need to have discipline. So we have what's called Hebrew Academy, where Psalms 18:34, it says, he teaches my hands to war so that the bow of steel is broken in my arms. I would like to play the video that I have, but unfortunately I couldn't get it in here. Wait, will it play? Nope, Salakia. Can y'all, hey, Garfield, can you see my screen? When I clicked that link, it might have took me out of the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I could see your screen, brother.
You see the, I'm sorry, do you see a video about to play?
Hold on, let me pause your time.
Okay.
I see like some brothers are they training, karate training or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can you hear that?
Psalms 18:34.
Okay, but you don't see the video. Okay, so I'm gonna stop this share real fast. I'm gonna share just so I can show the brothers these the audience this video I'm about to play.
We got 2.5 minutes left.
God damn. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna play the video. So like, let me stop. I'm gonna skip it. don't want to
I
get.
told you do 20 minutes, Cap. You was scared.
Listen, if we'd have did 20 minutes, it would have been more Shaka bullshit. Please don't. You shouldn't do an after party. Don't. This is the first time you should not do an after party, brother. Don't do no after party whatsoever.
Right after this, we're doing one. Right after.
It ain't gonna be for Shaka. Hey, you can start. You can start one time again. You can start one time. I will go to. Let me make sure. Wait. All right. So I'm gonna skip this. I'm gonna skip that. Even in the language. For the same, we teach our language and culture. That metal net, I guarantee you, whatever that metal net he read, I guarantee you somebody gonna say that shit was wrong. We teach our culture, and these are all elements of a society that you need. And that's what I'm showing here. I guarantee you he won't show that. These are different Hebrew words that we would have. I want to get to something else. I'm kind of skipping some of this stuff that I have here. That's the best selling. That's more culture. Moral code. Deuteronomy 28:1 says, and it shall come to pass that thou wilt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments, he would set us above. We leave the commandments, we won't. So when you talk about a moral authority, if it's talking about murder, we can go to Exodus 21:12-14, Leviticus the 24th chapter. If it's talking about striking or cursing a parent, like y'all see them videos where these little boys is hitting their parents, we got something to deal with that. Kidnapping, with all our sisters getting kidnapped, we got something to protect them from that. Sorcery and witchcraft, them drugs y'all love to smoke, all that weed y'all like to do, and cocaine and heroin, we can deal with that. Bestiality, I wouldn't put bestiality on blacks and Hispanics. That's more like white folk shit. Or technically African shit. Like incest, we ain't into no incest, but I will say King Tut, mother and father was related. They was brother and sister. Rebellion against parents, refusal to obey a decision or judge, perjury in cases, homosexuality. Is that not plaguing us today? Homosexuality, human sacrifice, adultery. So when it talks about a moral code, we have the laws in place. We live the laws in place. In 2005, Black people accounted for 13% of the U.S. total population, but were victims 49%. If we follow our moral authority, we wouldn't be that way, but we would rather be under the curses. When I read Deuteronomy 28:4, it says, so that the tender man among you, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. What did Christ come and bring? He came and gave us the greatest commandments. Matthew 22:36, which is the greatest commandment? Yahweh said unto him, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, thy soul, thy might, and thy strength. And if that's the first and greatest commandment. The second is, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. When y'all see me with my brothers, I don't know none of them without following these scriptures. None of them. I ain't met them a day in my life. I ain't crossed paths with them. I ain't did business with them. I only know them because we came together under that Bible. What I know about that conscious community, they ain't together no more. Under Kemit. Ain't none of them together. Y'all go look at that picture of Sinetta when he got all them blackity black niggas lined up together. If Sinetta was to take that picture today, it'd be him, Jabari, and Garfield. And Jabari and Garfield probably say, let me take a separate picture. They would not be together at all.
Time. We got to stop here right here. Time.
Captain is my man.
All right, let me mute my mic.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the third and final round by Shaka Amos. Then I don't know, do you guys want to do question and answers? We talk about it after Shaka is finished. And then if not, we'll just go to the final part.
Now we got to give them the question and answers, man. The people got to get money's worth. Let's give it to them.
All right, cool. All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being consistent and not coming off the mic. I appreciate it. I don't want to speak too soon. And for those who came in late, shoot me an email at axbrothergarfield@gmail.com and I will send you the whole debate in the morning. All right. And remember that. axbrothergarfield@gmail.com. And I'll send you the entire debate from the beginning. All right. Shaka Amos, when you are ready, beloved, I will start the clock. You can share your screen when you're ready. Get the ball rolling, and we good to go.
All right, awesome. Could you just give me a second? Hello?
Go ahead, my brother.
All right, you can give me a second, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
All right.
thank you very much. Give me 1 second. All right, I'll be right with you.
Sarnetta, after the debate, are you doing an after show live on Sarnetta Studios?
He might have to take Tazaria. I got to drink for feeling bad for getting his butt beat.
And it's still coming in. Again, if you're late to the debate, you want to see the entire debate, shoot me an email at askbrothergarfield@gmail.com.
Don't nobody believe that shit, Shaka.
No, everybody know you got beat bad. They know you got beat bad. They know it. They know you got beat really bad. And you playing it off good. I like that. That's some soldier shit.
Yeah, stay on mute, please, brother.
Playing it off like
bad,
you didn't get playing it off like you didn't get your world rocked tonight. Yeah, people are not stupid, but you're depending on everybody's ignorance. Give me 1 second. I'll be right with you. Okay. All right. So you know what? I'll do it like this. I ain't gonna even do it because this thing won't let me. Yes. All right, no big deal. All right, I'll just start from here. All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. We did that, we did that, we did that, did that. Hold on a second, I'll be right with you. I'm just getting it right back to where we left off. Okay, this is fine right here. Okay. Okay. So I guess I can start here. I don't mind. Come here. Then go to play from current slide. Okay. And I'm going to share my screen. And in fact, here we go. All right. So.
All right. While we're waiting, ladies and gentlemen, if you received or came into the debate late and you want to see it from the beginning, please email me at askbrothergarfield@gmail.com. There goes my brother Uncle calling me. Hold on, sir. Hold on, Shaka.
All right.
Hey, Shaka.
Yes.
Are you ready, beloved?
I'm ready.
All right, go ahead. I'll start the time.
Okay. So getting the language right, that's what this is all about, character and apogee. I showed you. Now, how many of you before tonight did not know that when you're looking at the pyramids, that's what they represent? The highest development of a person's mental and moral capacity, their mental and moral nature. You didn't know that. How many of you before tonight did not know that mental also designates your psyche, your intellect, your mind, not just your moral situation or your value system, but your mind, your intelligence. This is why white people write books about black people having low IQs, right? It's really an attack on our character. It's to besmirch our character and our reputation, because character and reputation go together, all right? If you look at the word ked, and I just showed you that, hold on 1 second. Come on, baby. We ain't got time to be stolen, right? Right here, ked, reputation, character. They had one word because they figured out how all of these things are connected. These idiots don't know how they're all connected. They need 1,000 different words to say one thing. We had one word that said everything. It's showing you the slope. It's the same word for society. It's the same word for building up a person. It's the same word for the character of a people. It also means, here's the root word, kedef. It means to gather sayings, to collect sayings. This is how so-called biblical literature, and I'm not even talking about the Bible. I'm talking about scripture. Let's just use the word scripture. This is how scripture got created on planet Earth. It got created through this. Kedef, the original commandment, came from our language. Kedef, to gather sayings, collect. It's the same word, the same root word that's used for the slope of the pyramid. The same word that's used for blueprint. It's the same word for use drawing and sketch. Kedut, the same word. They're not teaching you this because they can't teach you what they don't know. If you want to keep learning from stupid people, listen to them, right? Right. So it says to gather sayings right here. Kedef, to gather sayings, collect. But if sayings only remain as sayings, they're just oral. So once you gather them, there's only one way that you can gather them. You have to do the one thing that Egypt created, writing. You have to write it down. So then you have a Seba'it. The Seba'it, written teachings, instructions. This is the origin of all scripture. There wasn't no stupid, I don't even want to talk about that dumb book, right? And as far as him, let me stop sharing for a second. You can keep my time going. I want to stop sharing for a second so I can share something else. Share screen, right? Where's that? Ooh. All right, I'm gonna take a chance to do this. Share, right? Let me show you something. Oh, darn. Okay, that's all right. I'll eat up my time doing it. Where the fuck? Here we go. Hebrew. That's what I want. Okay. So I'm not going in the Bible, but he talked about teaching their language in their school. I got no problem with that, right? Hold on one second. Where is my thing to share? This stuff is all over the place, man. I freaking hate this stuff. Zoom. Here we go. Zoom. All right. Share screen, right? So here we go, right? Right here. Can you see my screen? Garfield, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. I could see you.
Okay. Oldest Hebrew inscriptions. I'm not in the Bible. Oldest Hebrew inscriptions, because the Hebrew deals with more than just the Bible, right? Oldest Hebrew inscriptions. Numerous older tablets have been found in the region with similar scripts written in other Semitic languages, for example, Proto-Sinaitic. It is believed that the original shapes of the script go back to Egyptian hieroglyphs. So we don't care that you're teaching your language in your fake school. That comes from our stuff. You're a copy. Everything about you is like, we had a name for you, pleather. Back in the day, you're not real leather, you're pleather. Okay, so I mean, let's just keep it 100, right? Share screen. Let me get back to the real deal. Here we go. Right? So the Sebaites, that's what this word means, kedef, to gather the sayings. Gathering the sayings, the collection, you end up with the Sebaite, written teaching and instructions. Now, what they're depending on, they know we all know the Bible. How are you bragging about black people that were colonized, had their names taken, their memories wiped clean, and just used the only thing that they had? So they were supposed to fail because they were in that position? No, they made the best out of a bad situation and they used what they had. That's more about their own intelligence than it is about the Bible. And even if it is the Bible, you can't prove they weren't looking at Kemetic literature in the Bible because it's documented as being in there. Either way, you lose this debate by virtue of logic, okay? But you're not logical, so it doesn't really matter, right? So here we go, blueprint, okay? They know that you don't know the literature. They don't know the literature. Right? This is the Sebaite, the first and oldest testament. When they collected the sayings, they put them down in writing. This is the first scripture on planet Earth. You're looking at it. And remember, it's the same word. Kedet, kedut, ked, the ked, slope of a pyramid. It's about character. I showed it to you. Go back and look. That's why it says shurud, strengthen, maintain, perpetuate, restore buildings. When you talk about restoring buildings, and the same word for this slope means character, and the same word ked or kedu means building up the character of a person. I showed you, it said build me up. I documented it for you. It's all integrated. Theirs is not integrated because it's all a copy. Period. Oh, I'm not talking about it. Guidance. Seba'it also means guidance. Guidance is a synonym for guard. Okay, in fact, if you look at the word guidance, it comes from the word guard. Look it up. So that means without guidance, you are vulnerable. That's what Seba'it means. You are vulnerable. They know that since we were stripped of our Seba'ites, we have been vulnerable as a people. So they take advantage of that by shoving the Bible in front of your face. Okay, here we go. What is it about? Right thinking and right action, the opposite of mental illness, which is the number one thing plaguing our community. Okay. Death and salvation in ancient Egypt. It talks about the purpose of the Seba'it. Listen and pay attention. I'm going to try to make it through. This is very important because it shows you the role of the Father and the Son and how the ancient Egyptians understood. Kemetic people understood this. Introduction. For the Egyptians, integration into society was the most important and the most effective way of enhancing their life and denying their subjection to death. They had a saying, one lives if another guides him. One thus lived in the full sense of the word when another gave him guidance. As the Egyptians conceded, there was a crucial aspect of human personality that did not develop from the inside to the outside, but in the opposite direction, from the outside to the inside. This is why society matters. Society comes first, not the community. The society can either make a community successful or it can destroy a community. So he's not prioritizing, right? Because the Bible can't teach you that. They made the essential distinction within the totality of a person, not that between the body and the soul, but that between the individual self and the social self. The souls of the individual or bodily self included the body and the shadow, while the social self was comprised of the kind and name. The intactness and the vividness of the social self was as important to life as the intactness and health of the individual self. At birth, life was just a possibility, one that was actualized only when the social self was developed through a process of socialization, hence the root word for society, social. Life was thus more a matter of culture than of nature. It was in this respect that the Egyptians viewed the possibility of prolonging life beyond its biological limitations through cultural effort. The setting of these instructions in this literature, it was always a father who was the teacher instructing his son in the rules of what? Living with others. This is what the Black community does not have, okay? This instruction had because the father died at home, right? This instruction had an unmistakably what? Testamentary character. This is where you get your term Old Testament, New Testament from. It comes from the Sebaid. Idiots. It was the bequest of the father to the son, who was supposed to take his place amongst the living and see the continued existence of the father. In the previous chapter, we cited the description of old age from instructions of Ptah-hotep as an example of the physical experience of morality. Here we wish to consider it in its context where it serves as the motive for the instruction of the son. Ptah-hotep's reference to his old age leads to his request for the king's permission to instruct his son. May this servant be a command to make himself a staff of old age. Then shall I tell him the words of the hearers, the thoughts of the predecessors who once heeded the gods, or who once served the ancestor kings. Then the majesty of this God spoke, if you instruct him in the words of the past, he will be a model for the sons of high officials. What is heard will enter him, along with all of the reliability of one who speaks to him, for no one is born wise. Reliability, that's what Kemit was about producing and engineering. Reliable men. That's why it was called the father-son constellation. On the threshold of death, an old man passes the summary of his knowledge along to his son. This was the typical situation in which Egyptian wisdom was handed down. It had both an initiatory and a testamentary character. That's where the Hebrews and the Christians got all of that shit from, being initiated and having testaments. For the mortuary cult and the wisdom had the same root, the father-son constellation. The point of the father-son constellation was mutual. See, this repairs the father-son relationship in the Black community. And they know that by taking this is what destroyed us. The Bible does not give you this back. The son endowed his deceased father with life by pronouncing his name, intervening on his behalf, restoring and maintaining his place and status in society. So the father is still effective in society even after he's gone. The father endowed his son with life first by introducing him into society, by raising him into a life in society, and thereby socializing him. You cannot be raised into life in the community, and that requires a society. This slave mentality man talking to you does not know any of this. This is the meaning of the maxim, one lives if another guides him. Here we are dealing with the connectivity during life. Just as the deceased person lives again if his name is mentioned, so a living person is alive only in the full sense of the word, only if another is there to give him guidance. True life requires at least two persons. Obviously, the conditions the Egyptians called life in its full sense did not begin with birth, but only with someone else was there to provide guidance. That's why you have people walking around like the living dead on 125th Street and all these other Black communities, because they had no guidance. Not a goddamn Bible. They had no guidance. A man was alive by virtue of his entering into a constellative community that included his friends, family, superiors, and subordinates. Egyptian ethics was connective because it arose from an image as death as disconnectedness. That's what death it is, the ultimate form of isolation, and thus of death as isolation and the collapse of connection. When someone dies, they are eternally beyond your reach. Isolation. So they built a society on the opposite, which is life, true connectedness, true life. See, the Bible can't give you this, doesn't know anything about this. Its goal was to make a person live through integration. A pupil who was unable to hear was thus incapable of being guided by others. Like Tazaryach, he was like one of the living dead. That is what you are. You are a zombie. You are a living dead zombie. You want to know what our scriptures teach and what subjects we master? Here you go. The Bible cannot touch this. They know that you don't know about our literature. Nobody has taught you. Nobody's introduced you. It deals with accusation, defamation, gossip, rumor, slander, acknowledgement, credit, reward, action, age, anger, burning, evil, animals, arrogance, boasting, bragging, pride, caution, character, cleanliness, community. Community, all right? Our stuff teaches you about community. Conflict and resolve. consequences, law, punishment, conservation and expenditure, correction, instruction, listening, teaching, courage, coveting, death, decay, deception, despair, discouragement, worry, destiny, fate, fortune, discretion, modesty, reserve, discernment, eating, effectiveness, ineffectiveness, evil, faith, fidelity, falsehood, family, fathership, fear, females, focus. You won't even find that word fathership in the Bible. Females, focus, food, fools, friendship, generosity, giving, gluttony, greed, over eagerness, God, goodwill. Hey, all of our stuff teaches all of this. The Bible comes nowhere close. Health, heart, hierarchy, home, ignorance, intergenerational transmission, inebriation, substance abuse, judgment, justice, killing, knowledge, leadership, listening, love, males, marriage, maturity, measured, money, business, wealth, mothers, numbers, order, patience, peace, piety, planning, preparation, politics, poverty, power, preparation, power, protection, safety, protocol, race, real estate, reciprocity, relationship, reputation, resources, respect, responsibility, revenge, retribution, retaliation, ruin, science, self-control, service. You want to talk about building the Bible? They used the Bible to build Black Wall Street. How long did Black Wall Street last? How long did it last? How long did Kemit last? 5,000 years more. You want to compare something that people that built a Bible, that used the Bible to build something, none of them built anything that lasted 5,000 years. You'll sound stupid. You'll sound mentally ill because you are. Revenge, rude, ruin, science, self-control, service, sex, shame, social sonship, speech, stability, success, theft, timing, travel, trust, violence, war, waste, wise work, worthiness, writing, extras. Oh, those are things to remember. I went into extras. Now watch this. Hold on 1 second. How much time I got left? Talk to me. How much time do I have left?
You have 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes, brother.
I have 2.5 minutes. Thank you very much. All right. Here we go. Okay, cool. Let me come right here. All right. Matter of fact, come here. Here we go. There. Okay, here we go. Right. So, no. Let's do this right. Let me see. How do I get this back up? Here we go.
You got 2.5 minutes left, brother.
I know. I'm doing my best. Here we go. Play from current slide. Here we go. All right, now I got to share my screen. Let me share my screen.
I paused it.
All right, let me share my screen. Thank you. I appreciate that. Share my screen. Okay, I'm going to start again. Let's go. Right? In matter, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Martin Bernal.
Okay, in matters of sexual circumscription, Black Athena, the Afro-Asiatic roots, classical civilization, Dr. Martin Bernal, PhD, Cambridge University. It says right here, Orpheus talking about Greek culture. Now remember, the original Bible is not written in Hebrew. It's written in Greek. It's written in Greek. Freaks, homosexuals. It's written in the language of homosexuals. It's not written in Hebrew. Septuagint was not written in Hebrew originally. It was written in Greek. They created the letter of Aristaeus to pretend it was originally written in Hebrew. It's a lie. It was written in Greek. So was the New Testament, originally in Greek. Homosexual languages. What does it say? It talks about the Greeks. Orpheus and Dionysus seemed in many ways to duplicate each other similarly, but with some hostility between them. Egyptian society appears to have been rather intolerant of homosexuality. That's a fact. Here you go. Oxford definition. What does intolerant mean? Not tolerant of views, beliefs, or behaviors that differ from one's own. That means that they were not into homosexuality, not only not into it, but strongly against it. That's documented. Okay? So you want to talk about what we teach? Go into the Bible. Here's the original text right here, primary source, number 19. O-M-M-T, snake who came forth from the place of execution. I have not committed homosexuality. O you whose face is behind him, who came forth from the cavern of wrong. I have neither misconducted myself or copulated with a boy. So they're against homosexuality and pedophilia. Hold on. Penises shall travel into ready vaginas and vulvas in the position. That's from the pyramid text. The first one was from the Book of the Dead. Our writings. We don't need your Bible. We know what our morals are. You've never heard this. This is from, a minimo, right? You really need to read that. If you are a man of worth, or Tahotep, if you are a man of worth and produce a son by the grace of God, if he is straight, do you see the word, you retard? If he is straight and takes after you, takes good care of your possessions, do for him all that is good. He is your son, your Ka begot him. Don't withdraw your heart from him. Straight. They actually use the word straight. What is straight? Look at the dictionary. Right here, adjective, informal, heterosexual. You want to talk about what we teach? The only way you can convince Hebrew Israelites that something is wrong with Kemit is for you to lie, misrepresent, cheat, and steal. And that's how you represent your God? You ain't even representing your God. You're misrepresenting our God. Yahuwah, Yahuwah. Okay? Say his name right.
Time, my brother. Time.
Okay.
All right. That's the third and final round from are you guys get off mic, Captain? Do you guys want to do a question and answer period?
Yes,
sure.
they do.
All right.
Hey, you can't answer for us, man.
Yes, I could.
So it's 7 minutes. And listen. The problem is this now, right? We got to be under real control in this segment.
Okay.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give y'all 1 minute, right? Just to compose y'all questions.
Hey,
or
can
whatever
Shaka
y'all
go
wanna
first?
do.
I don't have no questions.
Okay, I'll go first. But Tazaria, I gotta say something to you. I have a lot of respect for you, bro. The fact that you even took this debate, because a lot of cats would have been scared, and you stepped up. I think you did a piss poor job, but you certainly made an effort to prove your point. But it's a dead point, especially when compared to the facts and the document.
Shaka,
But
hold on, Shaka.
yeah,
Can I say
It's like
something?
a closing argument. Hold on.
okay, all
Let's
right.
not even do that right now.
Oh, so what are we doing now? So what are we doing now?
Wait, Garfield, can I just say something back? I won't even take that long.
Yeah, go ahead, beloved.
Appreciate it. Shaka, I have no respect for you. I have
Okay,
no
that's fine.
respect.
I know you wanted to upstage me. That's fine.
I ain't interrupt you.
That was good. That was good.
I appreciate it. But I
Okay.
have none.
That's cool.
The way you
I don't expect you to.
I could tell because you can't say I don't respect you after you said I got respect for you. Unless you a liar.
I didn't say I didn't respect you. I didn't say I didn't respect you.
Okay.
I said I don't expect you to have
Oh,
respect.
okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So now with that said,
Although you're lying because you told Sanetta that you did. So
I can't even talk.
because you're
Hold
lying.
on.
But
Let's do this. This is not a good idea right now.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Only
Let's
from
do
his
this.
side because he interrupted me.
Yeah,
right.
but hold on, Captain. Hold on 1 second.
You
Captain,
gotta let Captain finish. Let him finish.
Let him
go ahead,
finish.
Captain. Finish your point.
So the
Go
reason
ahead.
why I say that is because before this debate I would say I always give you the position of being like the best Kemit guy, and you came in here and I felt like I was debating the other Shaka that Sanetta brought on here that interviewed him. This is horrible. It's a horrible debate. That's why I ain't got no questions. But that's all I got. That's it. That's
You're
all.
supposed to say that. That's called
Shaka,
frontal.
you gotta let him finish.
Yeah.
It's one
No, I
night.
was done.
Yo, I didn't go on for 20 minutes. The hell, I heard we had to say
Hold on, guys. We getting out of control right now. Let's do
Okay.
it. Now, Captain, do you have any questions for Shaka?
No, that's why I asked if Shaka would go first, and Shaka said he would.
All right, Shaka, do you have any questions for Captain?
Yes, I do.
All right, so I'm gonna put the clock on for 7 minutes, and we're gonna do 5 questions. What's up, Cap?
I was just gonna say I just wanted Shaka to go first, and then maybe I have some questions after that. So
That's fine. I'm gonna give you that opportunity, brother. I wouldn't leave you to drive like that. All right. And listen, once Shaka asks you the question, you're gonna have to answer. Shaka, you can't interrupt him while he's answering the question because both mics are open. So we got to be under control. All right,
but let me say this real quick, because if Shaka is in the point of asking his questions for the 5 minutes, once Shaka say I'm good with that, you gotta let him be good, because it's Shaka's time. The same way with Captain Tazaryach. When Tazaryach say I'm good with it, then you got to move on because he's wasting Tazaryach.
So he could stop me, right? So he could stop me when he feels he's satisfied. That's what you're saying.
And you can stop him when you feel he's satisfied.
I'm just making sure I understand.
Yes, because you know how people draw it out, and then that's your time going.
Right. I got it.
So once y'all both feel that you're satisfied with the answer, you can move on and stop them.
All right. I'm gonna put the clock. It's 7 minutes. I'm gonna start the clock right now. Shaka Amos, are you ready with your first question, brother?
Yeah, I'm ready with the first question.
I remember. Hold on 1 second. Shaka, can you read the flyer? I don't have. Hold on. Do I have the flyer here? Let me see if I got the flyer on my computer. It says, "Whose ancient writings can fix the Black community? Whose records are stronger?" This is the early flyer I have. I don't have the.
All right. The proper title for this joint is "Whose ancient writings can fix the Black community? Whose records are stronger?" Captain can only use the Bible. Shaka can only use the Kemetic records.
All right. So let's start the question. Let's start the questions. And Shaka, I'm gonna start the time in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, my brother.
All right, so Tazaria, you are continually bringing the Bible front and center, and you make the claim that because the slaves used it, it is therefore the best thing for us to use because it worked for the slaves. So those same slaves who fought to get free during the Civil War, they used muskets to defend themselves. Are you therefore saying that because muskets were the best thing at the time, that we should still use muskets in warfare in modern age and an advanced period? Is that what you're saying?
No, I would never say we should use muskets because technology changes. So guns changed. Even the formation of guns, where you had to make the gunpowder, stick the gunpowder, jam it down with the little rod, then you shoot it one at a time. Now they got semi-automatics. They got automatics. So that wouldn't make sense. But from a Bible perspective, love thy brother as thyself, thou shalt not commit adultery. The dietary law, what foods we can eat, what foods we cannot eat, that's eternal.
Right.
Like, for example, fins and scales. There ain't a fish that has fins.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good. You answered my question. All right. So so you're saying because technology has advanced, therefore we don't need to use muskets. So what I submit to you is that the Sebaites that I showed, all of that deals with technology as well. It deals with human technology, the building up of people. You saw in the word ked, it said, build me up. That's what it literally means, build me up, character-wise. And character responds to both intellect and morality. This is the point I'm making. This is the point that this is what the documentation showed, right? So what I'm saying is that being that the Kemetic literature was far more advanced than the biblical literature, it only makes sense if we're going to use advanced technology, it only makes sense to go with the Kemetic technology because it's far more advanced.
Shaka, you support, hold on, Shaka.
All right, so I got another question.
Yeah,
all right, let me ask another question. Question. All right, so let me see what other question I have here. I'm gonna have to make something up. Okay, so let me ask you this. Them saved slaves, because you keep hopping on the slaves using the Bible, right? So those same slaves that used the Bible to do this, that, and the third, which I commend them for. I commend the slaves, right? And I commend the Kemetic literature inside the Bible that may have played a role in inspiring them, most likely did play a role in inspiring them. So my question to you is this: those same slaves who fought in the Civil War to get free, they also used the horse and buggy, right? So are you saying that because the horse and buggy worked best for us at that time, that we should use the horse and buggy today in order to get around?
Again, no, I'm not. The title of the debate was which records can fix the Black community.
No, I know that, but I'm asking.
You gotta
testing your logic.
Shaka, hold on. You gotta let him answer, bro.
All right, I'm letting him answer. I'm letting him answer.
Go ahead.
I appreciate it. So asking me about a horse and buggy, we would be behind times,
right? Because
everybody else would be driving vehicles. But using that Bible as inspiration, we would never be behind times. Those slaves, the reason why I applaud those type of slaves or those type of Christians, because the scriptures that said, be amongst yourselves, don't be integrated, that's what those slaves did to become great. In today's times, we're so worried about being integrated, we won't segregate like the Bible said. And even though they segregated, they still built amongst themselves and dealt with other nations economically. We could learn a lot from that. So that's how you follow. Hope I answered your question.
Okay, so you also made a statement. You said Christianity is Black power, right? So you read that when you were reading your literature and talking about how Christianity is Black power. So my question to you is, how can a book that was written by Greeks in the Greek language, right? How can that book be Black power if it's Greeks that wrote it? And in many respects, it was written for a Greek audience. Most of the places that Paul purportedly spoke at, like Corinth and places like that, were to Greek-speaking people. How can that represent Black power in its essence? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm just trying to make it equate. I'm trying to integrate the two things.
It was an American that wrote that book, Black Power.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But he was Black.
Yeah.
Just like they could be, like Paul was a Roman citizen, but he was an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin specifically. So there's a such thing as having a citizenship and then who you are ethnically. So when y'all say Greeks wrote this and Greeks wrote that and Paul was this and Paul was that, Paul was an Israelite, but he was also a Roman. So you can have citizenship in anywhere. If I go to London, like I'm going to London in September, I'm going to be over there as London. I'm going to be an American citizen, but I'm Black. Your citizenship and your ethnicity are two different things. So the New Testament was not written by Greeks, like as in white people. It was written by people that were called Greeks. Last thing, Maccabees, the second Maccabees 6 and 6 said they made it illegal to profess yourself to be a Jew. So you were forced to take on Greek and Roman citizenship or Greek and Roman identity, but that doesn't make you those people. The Greeks conquered everywhere. The Ptolemies, for example.
All right, I don't want to eat up the rest of my time. Thank you for your answer. This is another question that I have, and this one I'm not even writing down. It's really just coming genuinely from me. Being that it's been so heavily documented that there's so much Kemetic literature in the Bible. There's just so much of it in there, and it's constantly being documented. My question to you is, why does that disturb you so much? Why does that fact bother you so much when it's just a matter of fact? And then a question I would attach to that is, what are the implications of that? Like what should we take from that? And this is a genuine question, right? Mm-hmm. So Sanetta told me I shouldn't be. He said, "See, I told you, Shaka, if you try to be respectful, whatever. I don't care. The fact that you have no respect for me doesn't mean much. You don't respect."
No, only in debates, not as a person, Shaka. Yeah. Not as a person. Like if I see you.
You talking about debate wise? Okay, no problem.
I'm not talking about it as a person. Like when I remember when I seen you in the gym in front of the school that time, and we chopped it up for a second. I'm just talking about from a debate.
All right, I respect that. Okay, I respect that.
All right, time's up.
The fact that you lost this debate, don't hold it against me.
Shaka, time's up. Time's up.
Can I answer this question though?
Yeah, go ahead. Answer. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So the question, excuse me, the thing you brought out with the Amino Pope and Proverbs didn't bother me, the subject matter, outside of violating the rules of the debate. And I just wanted to point out that you did it. And I did it on purpose. If you ask Sanetta, he'll tell you, I texted him and said, I'm about to F this up because I just wanted the people to know that you was getting off subject. The Proverbs versus Amino Pope, I already have it in my slide. If I was to share my screen, I had it in my slide with Jabari. The argument is a historical timeline one. An Egyptologist by the name of Patrick Clark already broke this down. If you want the article, you send me your email, I'll send it to you. When you adjust the timeline, you'll see that Proverbs comes before Amino Pope. So the argument, because they're basing it off a 3 timeline, I think CEC, hold on, I'm just pulling it up here. The conventional timelines are the CEC, the 3-age system, the stone, bronze, and Manethos timeline. And there's problems with all 3 of them. Those 3 timelines don't even agree. If you do someone that do the
I have a question for you about your source. How old is your source? This Egyptologist that you're talking about.
I would say it's in.
Don't say it should be out there. It should be on there because you're probably reading an outdated source.
No, it's in my PowerPoint. It's in the 2000s.
Right. No, we're saying it's in the 2000s. Okay.
Yeah, I'll pull it. Yeah. If you send me your joint, I'll send it to you. The guy's name.
I think he's okay.
Yeah, the guy's name is Patrick Clark. It's written by Patrick Clark, who is an Egyptologist. Mm-hmm. And so they point out the flaws in the timeline, which even when you and I first debated on the street, and I told you about the timeline, you agree with me that the timeline was not in agreements with each other. Because you can have the kings list, but you have pharaohs in Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt ruling at the same time. So that's not accurate. And when the timeline is adjusted, the Amino Pope the Proverbs takes precedence over Amino Pope.
So hey, I'm gonna stop. Hold on. I'm gonna stop this right here. Stop. Now it's Captain Tazaria. If you want to question Shaka, I'll put you on the clock for 7 minutes. Do you have any questions for Shaka, my brother?
I probably won't need the whole time. I probably only got like 2 questions. All right.
All right. Tell me when you want to start.
I'm gonna start now.
All right, go ahead.
In your second and third round, you was bringing up the pyramid and how it reads and stuff like that. How would you make what you presented today applicable in real time in society? Like, how would you do that?
It's pretty easy for the most part. The first thing that you have to do is, it's very important to get the language right. When the language is not right, you end up running in circles trying to solve a problem that you're not equipped to solve, because language and psychology go together, right? So the first thing you have to do is get the language right. And the reason I pointed to the pyramid was because I wanted people to see that, I wanted people to understand what it represents and how it relates to mental health. There's a direct connection. You cannot build a stable, and the key word is stable. You cannot build a stable civilization that outlasts and lives longer than all other civilizations in recorded history. You can't do that with mentally ill people. You can only do that with people who have a sound mind and who have stability inside. That is what is missing from the Black community: stability, psychological stability, moral stability. And white people know this. They're not stupid. The only people who don't know it is our community. That's why we're the laughing stocks of the world. That's why you walk into our communities and we look crazy, because we're not psychologically stable, right? Just look at the way we behave in the streets, the things that we do to each other. We're not stable. And so I showed that pyramid so that people could understand the correlation, the fact that they use the same word for character and for building up people and for engineering societies is the same word they use for the slope of the pyramid. So that if you look at the name of the pyramid, which is shining.
I'm good right there.
Right. Okay.
So now, with that said, can you demonstrate who from the Kemetic side, whether it's you or someone else, like we as the Israelites, we actively go out to push what we believe in.
Right.
Can you show who actively goes out and push the things that you said? Like in the streets, in the communities, are you doing that?
I must be, because all the people in the streets of communities come up to me when I'm in the street. So somehow I'm reaching them. So, I mean, I personally don't think that the fact that you are standing on a street corner, I mean, there are people that sell bean pies on the street corner. I think the average person who is selling something on a corner would much rather be selling something in a store or selling it online, brick and mortar, or one or the other, than being out on the street corner. Street corner speaking has always been considered bottom of the barrel. You know what I mean? I'm not saying our greatest didn't do it. 9 out of 10, they did it for whatever reasons. But the place where a lot of this is taking place, is it in the street? Yeah, it's in the street. You know, we were famous for being on 125th Street. We know House of Content was out there for years. You know, we got you and me on video in the street.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Garfield, I don't have no more questions. I'm good.
All righty. So at this moment, hold on, let me stop this, reset it.
All right, I have a question for both of them. If we up to that, Garfield.
Yeah, go ahead. You could ask your question.
I would like to ask Shaka. First thing I want to say, when you first opened up in your first round, I was a little confused, but now I understand when you was talking about the psychology. I was like, damn, Shaka, get on point, get on topic. And then you tied it all together when you got to part 3. Talk about how important that was when you was talking about the mental health and all these other things. And then you showed it in part 3, right, in ancient Kemit, dealing with the pyramid. How important was that, brother?
Well, actually, I showed it before that when I referenced the introduction to our Minimop and Miriam Lichtheim, when she spoke about right thinking and right action. That's the reason I referenced that so early. Really, I shouldn't have had to go any further than that. The debate was actually won at that moment. For anybody who has any intelligence, the debate was over. It really was. Everything else was superfluous. And I just went through the machinations. But the reality of it is that it's really what you call an umbrella problem. If you can't ground zero your problem, you're going to be confusing symptoms with the actual problem. And you're going to miss it.
I'm good. I just wanted to ask that because a lot of people would think you was off topic like me, but come to find out, you was right on point. So Captain Tazaria, I have a question for you, brother. Shaka talked about the horse and the buggy. And does that mean that you can use that today? Does that mean it was successful? Your response was no, because technology changes and we got to catch up to date with the technology. So would that be a flaw in your Bible? Because you teach and the Bible teach that the sky is going to crack open and horses and chariots is going to come from the sky. So are there literally horses and chariots?
Horses and buggies.
Because you can't say, oh no, because we got cars now, but the Bible says horses and chariots. So is it going to be horses and chariots, brother? Or we can't use the word horses no more because we in the New time period. But that's not what the Bible says. It said horses and chariots. Talk to me.
I see Sarnetta drunk the same shit Shaka did today. He had to have drunk the same shit. When you read the Bible also say, if I read Acts 1:9, it says, and when he looked up and spoke these things while they beheld, he was taken up in the cloud, received him out of their sight. So as it says a cloud, am I looking for a cloud to come back? No, I'm not, because I understand the metaphor. Chariot is a metaphor. When they tell you to go get a sword, it's not talk about a literal sword, it's talk about getting something to fight, because it's a metaphor for defending yourself. It's a metaphor for fighting. So the chariots and horses that you see in the scriptures in Revelation, the 6th chapter, it talks about a black horse, a red horse, and a pale horse. All of them are metaphors. It's visions, it's dreams. It's to be interpreted to something that happens. So
How do you determine between what's a
hold on,
metaphor?
no. Stop right here. I got a question for both of you guys, and then we're gonna go to closing arguments. This is a simple question, and it's the same question for both of you guys.
Okay.
What is one thing within the Kemetic writings that you would apply right now to this society, right now to our community, that would benefit us the most? That's to Shaka Amos first.
That's the Shaka Amos first.
Yes.
The very first thing that I would do is I would reintroduce the Black community to the original scripture from which the Bible came, right? So it's kind of like I was talking to someone yesterday, I don't remember who it was, but my thing is that if they went into the Kemetic literature to take things out, that means they're editing, right? How do you know they took out the best stuff? Maybe they left the best stuff in the original corpus. So if there are things in the original corpus that can solve all of our problems, it only makes sense to leave the copy alone and go back into the original corpus. And when you go back into the original corpus, it's going to blow your mind, because that's where you're going to see all the answers that will solve your problem. All of the answers that will solve our problems are in the original text. But if you don't notice that, because my last question, I'm going to say the last thing. My last question to Tazaria, which I wanted to ask and never got to, was
No. I just wanted you to answer that question. There's no more questions after this one. So,
Who's that person, man?
Who is that? Hold on there. Hold on 1 second. All right.
It's a question to me, right, Garfield?
Yeah, the question to you, Tazaria, what is the one thing in the Bible that you would use out of scriptures today that would help the entire Black community?
No sweat. Unlike Shaka, that's going to send y'all to go do research, I'll just read it. This is Matthew 22:38. I'm going to read to verse 40, 3 verses. I'm sorry, verse 37 to 40, 4 verses. Yahweh said unto him, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, with all thy mind. Verse 38. This is the first and great commandment. Verse 39. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Verse 40. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Why are those 2 laws important? What is plaguing the Black community is the hatred that we have, the selfishness, the murder, the killing, the robbing. We don't know, the lack of compassion, the lack of empathy to feel for somebody when they're in pain. And we don't have that, but we do want people to feel for us. So if we learn to love our brother and sister like we loved ourselves, that would be the start, and that requires action. So as I tell that to people, and I do to them what I would want somebody to do to me, I'm not robbing them no more. I'm not selling drugs no more. I'm not sleeping with their woman no more. There's so much. And then in doing that, you keep in every single law that's in the Bible. So to answer your question directly, those 4 verses are what I would read to them.
Hey, thank you so much, brothers. We're going to have closing arguments for 5 minutes. I'm going to set the clock. I'm going to start with Shaka Amos with his 5 minutes closing regarding this topic, this beautiful debate that we just had.
Thank God for before that, real quick, I want everybody to know Sarnetta Studios will be doing the after debate. And so this is the first time. After this, it will not be any more videos made. So I welcome Tazaria to come in and drop it. Shaka come in and drop it. Y'all ain't got to stay because, we don't do debates after the debate. So it will be a after debate on Sarnetta Studios right after this. Go ahead.
All right. So Shaka, hold on. Just let me know once you start speaking, I'm gonna start the clock. All right, you got 5 minutes to closing argument. Let me mute my mic. Go ahead, my brother. Yeah, unmute your mic, Shaka. Hold on, Shaka, before you speak, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Shaka is going to speak for 5 minutes, his closing argument, and then Tazaria, and then the debate is completely over. But before
Shouldn't
you do that,
Tazaria close out first?
hold on, no,
He
because,
always closed
no,
out last. He closed out last on the other one.
Hold on, beloved, because he started the debate. He was first.
Yeah, I didn't close out last.
He's gonna close out tonight. All right. So hold on. Before they close out or anything, I want to say to everybody that participated in this debate, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being a wonderful audience and following the rules. If you came in late, shoot me an email tomorrow at askbrothergarfield@gmail.com, and I will send you a full copy of this debate. All right. I'm gonna say that again. If you came in late and you want to see the entire debate, shoot me an email and I will send you the entire debate. It's askbrothergarfield@gmail.com.
And one more thing, we got Sanchez going up against Unk coming up. And then we got Pastor Bennett versus Chris Harris. So that's coming up as well.
All right, cool. All right. I was going to tell you I wanted to debate Chris Harris Memorial Day weekend that Sunday, but since you're going to have him with Pastor Bennett, because I need to put that work in. But anyway, Shaka Amos, you got 5 minutes, beloved. I'll start the clock whenever you're ready, and we going. Let's go.
Okay, give me 1 second. Slideshow.
Hey, Brandon, Ashley, you're late. So since you just came in, just send me an email at askbrothergarfield@gmail.com, and I will send you a copy of the entire debate. Anyone who just came in late, email me at askbrothergarfield@gmail.com.
Okay. Are you ready?
All right.
Are you ready?
Go ahead, beloved.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So what I'm going to do, since he wanted to read from inside his text, I'm going to read from the Sebayet so they can hear the literature and see what it says. Okay? This is chapter 30 from Aminamo. It's the final chapter. It's a very, very long chapter. Okay? In fact, I'll just give you a quick, all of this is Aminamo. People only ever hear about the few that ended up in Proverbs. It's very long. Okay? But I want to read the last part too so you can see what it says, how important these Sebayets are. It says, mark for yourself these 30 chapters. They please, they instruct. They are the foremost of all books. The text is telling you they are the foremost of all books. They teach the ignorant, like Tazaria. If they are read to an ignorant man, he will be purified through them. Seize them. This is why he laughed at me about telling the people to do research. What do you think is the main thing missing from the Black community? Guidance without research equals what? There's a shitload of ignorance. If they are read to an ignorant man, he will be purified through them. Seize them. Put them in your mind. And have men interpret them, explaining as a teacher. As to a scribe who is experienced in his position, he will find himself worthy of being a courtier. That's what this whole thing was about. It was about training men to be courtiers, making each of us worthy of operating within the court of a king. That means you have to be a highly capable human being. And your behavior and your self-control has to be at a high level. That's what it was teaching us, how to be men. But if you don't read the Sebayets, most of you have never heard that before. But there's so much more in it. There's so much more in it that tells you how to behave. Do not expose a widow if you have caught her in the fields, nor fail to give her away if she is accused, right? Do not turn a stranger away from your oil jar, right? Do not let yourself be reported to God when he rises with the words, another young man has reproached an elder. In other words, don't disrespect an elder. That's what it tells you. Do not reproach someone older than you, for he has seen the sun before you. Okay? This whole thing is about character. The whole entire thing. Okay? So, and it says right here, and give a hand to an old man filled with beer. Respect him as his children would. It's telling you about your character. It's raising you up in right behavior so that you don't get caught out there with bad mistakes because of your character. Okay? It says what else? It gives you specific rules. Do not stay in a tavern and join someone greater than you. So it's telling you there's a mode of behavior, things you should not do in life. If you go to a party, don't try to commiserate too much with people that are greater than you there, because you might end up doing yourself more harm than good, right? How fortunate is he? A perfect example. Tazaryach went and hooked up with this dude, Whack 100, and look what ended up happening. Whack 100 ended up eating him a new asshole all over the internet, making him look bad. That's what this, if he would have read that Sebayet, he would have known not to do that. This is what I'm talking, it's little things. It's the little things that undo a person, right? Do not jeer at a blind man or tease a dwarf, neither interfere with the condition of a cripple. It's telling you how to be as a human being. And there's tons of this stuff. That's why they went in there and took it. They took a few little pieces and left all of the best stuff behind. You idiots want to stay with the copy? Stay with the copy. I don't care. I know where the best stuff is. I'm not going to tell somebody not to eat at a fast food restaurant just because I eat at a 5-star restaurant. If I can eat at a 5-star restaurant, I'm going to eat at a 5-star restaurant. If you want to stay with the poor stuff, stay with the poor stuff. And the reason it tells you why you do not tease a cripple or a blind person or a dwarf. It says, do not taunt a man who is in the hand of God, nor scowl at him if he errs. All right? You don't know why God put that misfortune on that person. So it's telling you, don't do that.
30 seconds.
Okay, not a problem, right? Do not allow your discussions to be brought outside so that your heart will not be grieved. Okay? The heart of a man is the beak of God. So take care not to slide it. That means when God speaks to you, he speaks to his heart. He speaks to your heart. Okay? What else? If you are satisfied with false words, enjoy yourself with your spittle. In other words, don't speak too much. If you're like Tazaryach is constantly saying things that are untrue, right? It's telling you, hey, if that's what you enjoy doing, and enjoy the saliva with which you do it, because you're gonna have to reap the rewards.
Time.
Okay.
You went over like 5 seconds.
Okay, no problem.
I'll do the same for you. Thank you, brother Shaka Amos. Beautiful job tonight. I appreciate your presence. Peace and love to you. Captain Tazaryach, you're up, beloved. You have your 5-minute closing remarks. And then Sarnetta, you could start the show now. And by the time he's done, we could get everybody to go over there so we could talk about this in the after debate show. All right. So Captain, as soon as you start speaking, I will start the clock.
I appreciate Shaka. You should have did that shit in the first round. That shit you just said. You did your closing. He's definitely retarded. Because he did the stuff in the closeout what he should have did in the first round. And brother, if y'all go back and watch this debate, this brother had about 10 slides. 10 slides. He was repeating shit. He spent the first 5 minutes on mental health, but didn't show how Kemit actively does the work for mental health, where we can go out and show active work for mental health within the Bible. I'm convinced this nigga's retarded. But in his own mind, he gonna show you. I ain't gonna get over that. Slack.
You stupid, man. Go ahead, man.
It's all right. This is me, Shaka. You funny, dude. I ain't mad at you.
Even bringing up, but what you did in that closeout is what you really should have did in the beginning. I think that, a lot of people make it seem like this debate was a trick bag because the title was, you can't talk about the Bible. And then forgetting the title was also, I can't talk about Kemit. The point was to you put on the table your information that benefits Black people, whether it be history, scripture, or otherwise. And I do the same exact thing without the bashing. I knew that if I left this debate the normal way without putting that stipulation, you could say I upped the scholarship, because it would have just been a typical, if you go back into the years of the HOK and look at every time an Israelite and a Kemetic integrated or battled anybody, it always just came down to, you copied us, this didn't exist, this was gay, that was this, that was this. So I wanted to do something a little bit more different, where it forced us to just speak in a different fashion. And for even the people that say like they want their money or it wasn't a good debate, it shows maybe the mental capacity to where you just want to be entertained in a shit show instead of receiving the information, you might want to update your palette of intelligence. Because I guarantee you the people that I brought out, you never heard of. You never heard of the George Bryant. You never heard of the men and women that I mentioned that was integral in giving us a blueprint for how we can live today. Everything I brought out was before integration. Those were the real Christians or the real Israelites or those that were inspired by God, those that knew they was in captivity, but we still had each other. And the Bible was their foundation. So in 2023, we're still in captivity, but we do have each other. And the Bible is our inspiration. And it should have been that simple. This brother didn't show anything. I showed everything. I appreciate everybody coming to this debate platform. Shaka, again, from a personal perspective, I have respect for you. But from a debate perspective, you're going to have to listen. If you need some classes, I taught Polite how to debate too. So if you need some classes on how to debate, just hit me up, man. I will coach you.
Hey, you could go have a good cry.
So
You could go have a good cry.
The first rule of debating.
Hold on, Shaka. You gotta let him finish. You gotta let him finish.
First rules of debating. Well, technically, I interrupted you first because you didn't stick to the rules. So I'm gonna give you a pass on that. I'm not even gonna say that. See, that's how professional I am.
Okay.
So with that, I yield.
Professional loser, yeah.
All
right. Thank you. All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Sarnetta is going to start a live stream now so we could do an after party. Captain Tazaryach and Brother Shaka Amos is encouraged to join the after show. We're not going to do another debate, but people are going to pick sides and whatever. I personally would have to watch it over. As a moderator, I'm more concerned about people getting off mic and interrupting the debate.
That's wise. That's wise, Garfield.
So I'm gonna watch the debate over so I could get into what people are saying and looking at the slides and I gotta look at the flyer and get the topic in my brain properly and make sure it resonates. And then I'm watching each round. But peace and love to everybody, man. Sarnetta, where you at?
You don't need to watch this over again. Stop lying. Come on, man. Garfield, I'm going live right now. People over there waiting like a ball.
Oh, man.
Hey,
Sarnetta. Hey, Sarnetta.
Hold on.
Sarnetta, send that right now, Pop.
Captain, you want to come in and let the people know how you won? You ain't got to stay. Shaka, you could do the same thing. Now, after this stream tonight, there's no videos going to be made on our side. I hope not, Shaka. We do not make debates after the debate.
All right, hold on, Sarnetta, 1 second. For everybody who came in late, shoot me an email and probably like in an hour or two, if not early in the morning, 7 o'clock Eastern, I'll shoot you a copy of the entire debate.
Yes, and we're going to say that on my channel as well.
Yeah. So anybody who didn't see it, email me at Ask Brother.
Put the poll in the chat. Put the poll in the chat.
No, everybody left
the poll here.
Hey, everybody, I'm not going to call you again, Sarnetta.
Everybody, you're not allowed to come off mic though, beloved.
Sarnetta.
Who is that? Is that Shaka? Oh,
Sarnetta,
Shaka.
call me. Sarnetta, call me immediately, like right now, before you do anything else. Call me.
Yes, boss.
Hey, he need a shoulder. He need a shoulder.
I want to ask him. No, I gotta ask him a question.
Hold on. Let me close out the debate. Let me close out the stream.
Okay.
Y'all can keep talking. I want to close out the recording by say thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. And if you want a copy of the debate, ask Brother Garfield at gmail.com. And if you came in late, you could watch a replay of the debate. Peace and love. Thank you.
And sorry I had to do that to you, Tazaria.